Motoring towards the start of the National Football League season. I mean, Arizona, Carolina will be showing up, get this, in 25 days. 25 days. They're going to be showing up because those are the two teams that are going to play in the Hall of Fame game. And, I mean, we're here. That's 3 weeks, a little over 3 weeks away from teams showing up and getting ready for the 2026 NFL season. So, crazy stuff, man. I know the Eagles show up on the 28th. The majority of the teams really are showing up around that week. Eagles look like they're going to be the latest showing up to training camp at the end of the month of July. So, again, do me a favor, guys. Please hit the like button. Super chats go to the top as always. I got to start it out with this, dude. So, Bryce Huff, who was given that enormous $50 million deal and every opportunity to be a starter for the Eagles, they wanted him to be a star in Philly and take over for Hassan Reddick. He goes on this delusional podcast and says, I knew this wasn't going to work the first week. If you remember right, situationally, remember what we said? He played only 400 snaps with the Jets, which meant he was a situational pass rusher. And if the Eagles were going to bring him in to be a situational pass rusher, it might have worked. But they wanted him to be a 3-down guy. He was never going to be that guy. He was never that guy in New York. I do not in any way blame the Philadelphia Eagles for Bryce Huff's deal. They gave him every chance to be a star. He failed. And then to turn around and take a shit on the Philadelphia fans for what, guy? You were a bum. You were a total bum. You think they're going to sit there and they're going to celebrate you for your shitty non-production and your 2 sacks that you had as a player? And then Vic Fangio, he deactivated you as a healthy scratch for the Super Bowl. Bro, I don't know where you come off going after the Eagle fans on that one. I'm on your side 1 billion% here with this. This guy's a total asshole. It's your fault he sucked. How he gave him every opportunity. Vic knew it immediately, though, didn't he? Hey, I know, right? Nat, Huff said he knew it week 1, which means what? You checked out after you knew week 1 you weren't going to be a good football player? Remember, hey, if I'm not mistaken, somebody help me out here. Didn't they even start him at the beginning of the year? Didn't they give him an opportunity to start to see if the guy could play into it? Then he became a liability. Holy cow, man. You talking about a delusional dude and said, well, the fans are assholes. No shit. Philly fans are assholes, but you know what they are? They're this. You play great, they're going to love you. You play like dog shit, they're going to kill you. There's no gray area. And I like that kind of people. I don't like bullshit artists that sit in the middle. You're either great or you're not. This is pro football. It's not a bell curve. Well, he's kind of good. Screw that, man. Not when you're paying a guy $17 million. Dude, you look like a complete asshole making a comment like that about the Eagle coaches. Why? Because they realize you sucked? Chills, after last night, Eagles made the right decision to pass on Terron Arnold and drafting Mitchell. They totally did. And I was wrong. They totally did. And he turned out to be the right guy. There's no question. He turned out to be the right guy. I mean, this story with Terron Arnold, get this. So he feels that he had $250,000 worth of items stolen. And he hires people to go kidnap these guys and beat them up? Who the fuck are you, guy? John Gotti? You play defensive back for the Lions. And you go hire two guys to go kidnap a guy, beat the shit out of him. I'd kick that guy's ass off my football team right now. I wouldn't have that guy on my team. What the hell's wrong with you? $250,000 worth of shit, and you hire two guys to kidnap somebody? Hey, guy, there's no right in this. You're completely a loser. I mean, what is this guy? In the mafia? Mafia people do shit like that. That is ridiculous, dude. And by the way, if you think the National Football League's not going to suspend that guy for a year, you should suspend that guy for life. Kidnapping somebody? I mean, are you drunk? Dude, let me tell you what happens with athletes. And let me tell you what happens with guys who think like that. And this goes a little bit in, guess what? To Jaylen Carter a little bit and everyone else. And by the way, I am not comparing Jaylen Carter with that piece of shit at all. I am not doing that. But what I am saying is this. I heard Joe Krause. By the way, Krause is going to join us today at 3:30, and we're going to have Jason Cole on with us at 4:30. I'm going to say this, and he asked the question, I don't get why athletes think that they can do things like this. I'll tell you exactly what it is. It's a narcissistic mentality that you get when you're a young player because everybody tells you how great you are, how good you are. Here's the money. Here's the chicks. Here's everything. And after a while, you lose sense of reality. Let me tell you a story about what my wife said to me one day that jumped me into the reality of the real world. I lost and was not a football player anymore. Do you know what I had to do? I became a guy and I got some security job, and it was working with Hewlett Packard or something like that. It was Hewlett Packard, I think. My wife, and it was a really good gig. My wife said to me, she was my girlfriend then, she goes, wow, that must be a real reality check for you. I was my first kind of gig after being an NFL guy. And all of a sudden you go like this, holy shit, I'm in the real world now. You live in that fantasy world above the clouds where nothing really you think is going to touch you. And you're sort of like a super Teflon guy, you think. But then when you get into reality and into the real world, all of a sudden it's a gigantic epiphany. Holy shit, I've got to be a normal dude. Okay? I mean, the guys who make all this money, look at the people like Warren Sapp that have lost $100 million. Or you take a look at the people that have lost, like Antonio Brown, have lost everything. And they don't know where they're going because you know why? They're lost. That's because you live in this like reality, non-reality world. And you don't know the difference between reality. It's not right and wrong. You don't know the difference. It's not an excuse. It's a way of life. When you're a professional athlete and you live where you don't have to worry about one thing on the planet, you think you're above the law and laws don't matter to you. It's just the way they think. Not everybody has their head screwed on straight or has a good support system. I think one of the most important things that an athlete can have is great people around them. Okay? Is great folks around them. If you have good people around you, they're going to send you in the right direction. When you're an athlete that gets all that kind of money, dude, you have no idea where you are. And again, I am not making excuses up. I'm just telling you the way it is. That's just the way it is. Okay? All right. So, today is June 25th. And I do this every year, and please go with me here because I'd like to do something before we get going. I want to honor my friend. Jerome Brown was killed 34 years ago today. And I will say this, like I said today, my show was on in Brooksville this morning. I posted some really cool pictures of Jerome and me. And I posted some really cool moments with he and I when we were playing. And I will say this to you, as I said to people in Brooksville, Tampa, and the entire Central Florida area. The greatest education in my life I ever got was going to the University of Miami and becoming friends with Jerome Brown. I had never in my life ever been around black athletes before like that. I went to a Catholic high school in Connecticut. I got down to Miami. I didn't know how other cultures really lived. And I was like, okay, this is cool. My first time there, Jerome Brown said, grab your jersey, let's go. We're going to Overtown and Liberty City. I didn't know where we were going. We went there. Jerome had a whole, trunk full of clothing. He had bags. He had equipment. He had mouthpieces. I had no idea what we were doing. And we were in Overtown first. We did a camp. It was me, Winston Moss, a couple other guys. This is where I met Luther Campbell. And we're sitting there, and he goes, we're putting a camp on. As soon as we got done there, we went down to Liberty City. And we went there, and we're putting a camp on. Jerome opened up another trunk, gave the kid the shoes. We were a Nike program back then at Miami. And Jerome's giving out shoes to all these kids, 12 years to 14 years of age. And we're running a camp, and we did this every single season. I had never in my life ever been around anything like it. I went to Brooksville numerous times with him, spent numerous weekends with him. It was the greatest education of my life. When people say it's a Canes thing, let me tell you this. Going down to Belle Glades, Florida, and seeing Eddie Brown with Jerome, and the mother has grass on the fucking roof and dirt on the floor in a potbelly stove, and you want to see poverty? I saw it, and I couldn't believe it. And Jerome goes, this is why we're here. And sure enough, Eddie Brown said, as soon as my contract comes with the Bengals, I'm buying my mom a house. Moved her into a $600,000 house. That's what many of those kids did. Hey, playing football at Miami was one thing. Living with them was another. And it was the greatest education of my entire life. I had never seen anything like it. I told you guys before, we broke up a Ku Klux Klan rally in Brooksville. It's chronicled in the Sports Illustrated, what we did. I couldn't believe he would bring me up knowing my owner of the Buccaneers was a complete racist in Hugh Culverhouse. Jerome was just a different dude, man. I've never been around a man like that in my entire life. I miss him to this day. I keep his memory alive, and it was one of the greatest honors in my life to be next to him and play next to him. I was taught so much by the guy. I can't believe it's 34 years. It seems like 34 minutes that guy was killed, along with his nephew, Augusta. I've showed you this thing numerous times. My wife and I got this at the funeral, or at the funeral. He was actually buried July 2nd. My wife and I went there. It was one of the most inspiring things I'd ever seen in my life. Willie was there. The father, the mother was there. He was buried in a purple suit. Reggie White spoke. Everyone's crying, man, because of the impact that guy had on people's lives. I've never in my entire life been around a man that really inspired me more. I told you before, that Oklahoma story is so true. I was so good in that game. I had 10 tackles and a sack. I sat there and shook my head, and I looked at him, and he started laughing at me. And I said, "You're unbelievable." He had 25 tackles. He had a sack, 2 sacks, broke Troy Aikman's leg. He blocked the punt. He had an interception. He had another blocked field goal. And I sat there and I said, "I'll never be that good." I shook my head and I said, "It's the greatest performance I've ever seen a guy destroy a team. I've never seen anything like it." Put his arm on me and he goes like this, "Dude, you're a great player." I go, "Jerome, there's one thing on being great and there's another thing on being that." That guy would have been a first ballot Hall of Famer with the Eagles if he had fulfilled his destiny. Let me say this, and I'll say this last thing to you on it. Warren Sapp was a great player. As Jimmy Johnson said, he ain't no Jerome Brown. Jerome Brown was a special football player and a special man. And today, 34 years ago, the people in Philadelphia got that unfortunate news on the radio that Jerome had been killed in a car accident, along with his nephew. Jerome had survived the crash, believe it or not. What killed him was he was pushing the car off his chest. Augustus already had his head chopped off. He was trying to get out from it. And the car went back down and crushed him and killed him. 2 minutes after buying a brand new Corvette. Went down in a retention pond, flipped over, and killed him. And right there, one of the shining lights in many people's lives. Bro, there's people in your life that make an impact. Now it's not sad anymore. Now you just remember the great moments and great times. Jerome had to go that way. He wasn't just going to die as an old guy. He lived his life on the edge. That's how he played. And when I see Jaylen Carter, and I see the things that he goes through, you don't want greatness to slip through your hands. You just don't. And by the way, right, he wasn't drunk driving. He was just reckless. If you ever been to where the Eagles play football in that giant lot, it's still a giant lot there, right? Jerome used to get on his motorcycle and go 150 miles an hour. Jeff Fisher used to just sit there and hold his breath, along with Buddy Ryan. They used to tell him all the time, remember the Seagulls used to be out there? He'd drive right through the Seagulls 150 miles an hour. I'm not kidding you. Everyone tried stopping him. I remember when he died, Reggie, I had a conversation with Reggie. And Reggie was like, "I wish I could have saved him." I go, "You couldn't save him." Jerome doesn't listen to anybody. I wasn't who that guy was. Okay? That's not who that guy was, man. I mean, yeah, so rest in peace. Today's the day I'll always remember. So I was 92. I dated a girl whose mom worked in Brooksville. We were visiting her from Delaware. I put my 99 jersey on and asked her to take me to the crash site and saw the tree hit up the hill. And if you remember right, there's a Highway 98. Highway 98 is the number he wore at the University of Miami. Because I posted a great picture of me and him. We were on CBS together, and he's holding my hair and he's holding my head. He's got his arms around me, and he's going, "Brooksville." He loved Brooksville, man. He loved where he was from, and he loved playing in Philly. Make no mistake about it, man. He enjoyed it. He loved playing for the Phillies, for the Eagles. And he loved living in Philly. 2 car accidents ended players' Hall of Fame careers. One passed away in Jerome, and Eric Williams was never the same. Sad. Loved Brown at the U. Jerome was tremendous, man. Tremendous. I could picture prime Big Sills and JB sitting down, eating all the fried chicken and baked ziti at a cookout. Actually, what was cool, when I first got down to Miami, my wife is big on Southern food, And so now, like, I've been, like, introduced to it. I had never really eaten Southern food. I hadn't seen, my daughter loves greens. And Jerome's mom would come down and put all these greens on it. I'm like, yeah, I'm not eating that. Jerome goes, try it. I go, no, I'm not eating that. I don't eat that. And so, like, my wife's a great cornbread maker. So, like, all these moms down there would bring the cornbread in and the beans and all this other. And so I'm sitting there. It was truly one of the greatest educations of all time. Yes. And Augustus, you got to always remember Augustus, too. Unfortunately, his head was decapitated in that car accident. And the sister found out on the way back from Florida State as she was a student up there. And everyone had to run to her because she couldn't continue driving home. She pulled over and almost got into a car accident herself that her brother and her son were killed. I mean, yeah, it was a really ugly time. And I remember my wife and I, she was my girlfriend then, we went to this funeral. It was incredible. Every single NFL guy you could imagine was in the building. I mean, every guy was in the building. It was the most insane thing you've ever seen. Reggie White, Seth Joyner, Chris Carter. Chris Carter standing against the wall, just crying his ass off. Uncontrollably. All the Miami Hurricanes and Eagle guys, mostly. We had to go. It was our brother, man. I looked at that guy as my brother. He was just a tremendous dude. Totally rest in peace. All right. So, hit the like button. We appreciate all of you guys coming aboard. I'll say it again one more time. If Jerome had lived, he'd have been a first ballot Hall of Famer. And you would have had Reggie and him in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And I will also say this, that Reggie would never have left Philly. Yeah, that's right. I recruited Cortez Kennedy for the University of Miami. Okay? Seals, you got to take it back. Carter will sign long-term. Grandpa really liked him. Yep, absolutely. Carter will sign long-term, huh? Okay. We'll see, guy. As far as we know right now, let me send a message here to Robert Bailey and see where this thing is going here. Let's see here. Has anything moved? No. RC, they're miles apart in guaranteed money. Miles apart. Miles apart. But you keep thinking what you're thinking. Yeah. By the way, get this too. You mean to tell me you think you're going to pay $36 million to a guy who's not better? Okay, that's cool. That's cool. They're not. Anthony DeBona has solid contacts in the organization. He is saying it will get done before camp. How he always gets it done. Really? So, Jaylen Carter's going to get a deal done before camp. Okay. You may have great sources, or this guy I never heard of may have great sources inside the organization. I know Drew Rosenhaus. I don't care what the organization is telling some eagle mouth and some eagle hack. I'm talking to the agent. The agent's going to tell you what's going on, not some mouthpiece for the organization. Yeah. So if he's got good sources in the organization, what's he, Diana Rossini? Deal will get done next year or mid-season. Yes. I don't think mid-season. Okay. Let's see here. Milton Williams. Let's see here. Milton Williams is a stud. Milton Williams, LJ. Yeah. Well, again, deal will get done. I completely agree. So, all right. We're going to do something. Where is Twiz? Twiz, are you in here? Twiz, you gave me a great idea yesterday. You know what we're going to do? Okay. We're going to take a look at the Cowboys and the Commanders and the Giants. We're going to talk a little bit later on in the program about Jaylen Carter. And also, I'm going to say something here before we get going about Twiz. You're here? I took your advice, Twiz. We're going to do a little Cowboys, Commanders, and Giants today. I like that. And their question marks to win the NFC East, if they can. Okay? I like that take. So we worked on that last night. Okay? So, Sills, it's only the guaranteed money holding the deal up. That's what I'm being told. Okay? Is the guaranteed money. And remember something. I think potentially there could be something on the amount of years that they're talking about. Salary cap is real. Get this. You see RC? No need to do the Giants and Commanders. Why? You were 1-1 against them. Are you under the impression you blew them out last year? You were 3-3 in the division. You weren't the better team in that division. You were 1-1 versus those two teams. You're making it, and by the way, that's not even the Cowboys. You were 1-1 versus those teams. Hey, Sills, between Holmes and 500, do you take super chats during their stir them up? Yeah, I'm all good with that. We can do that. Eagles not good to get ready for Eagles fans meltdown. Shit already falling apart. Eagles not good. Get ready for Eagle fans meltdown. Shit's already falling apart. If they don't sign Carter and Ajomo, is signed to a $20 to $22 million contract that can free up money to re-sign Reek Woolen and maybe more. Maybe. Okay? That's another great take. Jalix is going into his third year too. We haven't even discussed him in the offseason. Hey, Twiz, what if that guy outplays Jonathan Grenard? Jonathan Grenard gets outplayed by him. And what if Jalix Hunt has 12 sacks next year? You're just going to ignore that? Remember, he's the third rounder too. What if that guy plays into Vic's system? And hey, and for the record, Twiz, that's a great pull. Think about this. If that dude has 12 sacks and outplays Jonathan Grenard, then you're now talking about another guy. Okay? See this? We're set for the next 5 years. You're set to lose a bunch of people the next 5 years. If you sign one guy, okay, Carter, you're signing Carter, Q, and Cooper. The rest of those guys, Woolen and Moro Jomo, will be out. You're not paying top market dollar for those guys also. Not when you've got salaries hanging around your neck on the offense, let alone the quarterback. Whatever, guy. I don't care about Hunt's pass rush. He needs to get better on the run. Yeah. And that's why you ended up going out and getting another guy and trading for an edge, because Howie's not very good at drafting edge rushers. That's a fact. That's why Smil, Munden, and Trotter are important. Campbell can play edge more. No, he can't. They have not put him out there yet. Why would they? They drafted him to take N'Kobe Dean's spot, and that's what he's done. All right. So I'm going to start here with my big questions heading into training camp. Big Sills question marks and questions. I don't know if they're question marks, but they're questions going into training camp, which is roughly in about exactly a month away. We're 4 weeks away from the start of training camp. Okay. Let's see here. So have you seen a team with a problem like this, or good teams usually just let them go? Ernest, great teams let them go, and they're not afraid of their ability to draft. And I'll give you the prime example of it. And I tried making this conversation, and a lot of people couldn't follow along with it. Okay? A lot of the folks could not follow along. And here's the big issue. When New England was really great, and New England was doing really great things, what did they do? They always moved off of contracts. Same thing Kansas City's doing. They don't get tied into big contracts. Kansas City and New England during the 2000s never, ever signed big number unless it was the quarterback. Like ever. They never kept guys. They shipped them, got resources, and then were so confident in their evaluation, they would bring new dudes in. Every single time. Those organizations, every year, were in contention. And this is why the Chiefs went to 7 straight AFC championship games. Sills, whoever said Carter might get done during the season is dead wrong. The last person Howie extended during the season was a long snapper. Sills, I have a great segment for you. How about the Eagles defense against every opposing offense this year? I absolutely love that. We may actually do that today, Danelle. I think that's spectacular. I love ideas like that. That's a great topic. Defenses versus the schedule's offense. We will do that. We may do that next. Let's see here. Sills, Brady took less because he bought into the team concept. Brady's first real bag was in Tampa. Correct. That's when he made the $40 million. That's correct. You're right. Did you and Jerome play in the Fiesta Bowl? We sure did. Gave up 140 yards of total offense and 6 first downs and lost. Go figure. Played our asses off. Sills, you're absolutely correct. We lost Lawyer Malloy, Willie McGinnis, Richard Seymour, and numerous other players from the early half of our dynasty. Absolutely true. No question about it. And you know what? You had the quarterback and the coach and the front office. You had Nick Sirianni, you had Scott Pioli, and you had Mike Lombardi. And all those guys kept retooling the New England Patriot dynasty. And that's why they went to a Super Bowl in 19 years every other year. That's what made that dynasty great. And what's making the dynasty great in Kansas City is the fact they're doing the same thing. They took the blueprint from the New England Patriots. Soon as a guy like Snead's contract or a guy like McDuffie's contract comes up, what do? They move him. You know that phrase, copycat league? That's what it is. So many plays, I saw him avoid the play basically because he didn't want to be touched. Not sure where you're going there with that. Okay. So here's my questions. We'll expand on some of the ones we've already hit on. Hit the like button. Appreciate you guys being here, man. Thank you again. How many people believe, and let me pull the team up here. And let me pull up the depth chart. Let me show you something here. So let's start here. You think the Eagles are good at depth at edge? You think they have good depth edge right now? Here's who you have. You have Nolan Smith and Jonathan Grenard and Jalen Hunt. Jalen Hunt, Nolan Smith. If Nolan Smith is a starter, you're in trouble. And Jonathan Grenard. I can't count on Nolan Smith. Guy can't stay healthy. Let's take a look at Nolan Smith for a second. Nolan Smith. Okay. So you tell me he's a first-round draft choice. 17, 14, 21, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 51 potential games in 3 years since he's been an Eagle. He's actually dressed for 45. And he has started 22 games as the 30th pick in the draft. How's that panned out for you? How do you think he's played? In 51 potential starts. Let's take a look at Jaylen Carter, for instance. Okay? Thank you so much, Wav. I appreciate that. Let's take a look at Jaylen Carter, for instance, here. Let's see, and Jordan Davis. Jaylen Carter. Okay. And let's take a look at Jaylen Carter and see how many games as a first-round pick he has started and played. I really don't know. So let's see. Okay, first year, he didn't start, Jaylen Carter. He had 17, he had 51 himself. Okay? And let's see after that. Let's see here. There's 51 games. He's played in 43. And he has started 27 of those games. He has started 27 of the 51 games. And over the last 2 years, he's actually, because he only played 11 games last year. He was injured. So in the last 2 years, he's got 26 starts out of 34 games. Is that right? That's not awful. That's not awful. So, how do you think Nolan Smith has played? How do you think he's played, Nolan Smith, with 22 starts in 3 years as the 30th pick in the draft? And the question is, do you have enough depth at edge? Do you believe it? That you have enough depth at edge? Nolan, not well. Okay? 30th pick should not be a backup. C-. Theoretically, I don't know why Howie Roseman picked up the fifth-year option. Why? If we're going to go with what RC just said, a solid backup, you're paying a solid backup, RC, $14 million? For a solid backup? Okay? He says it's great depth for a guy who doesn't play a lot. He's missed half his career as a starter since he got here. And let me guess, RC, he's a solid backup. Okay? I'm not ignoring shit. I asked you if you think, and by the way, these other guys are garbage. Who out there at edge? Ebikadi? Yeah, okay. Yeah, he's a Joshua Uche. That's who that guy is. Nolan Smith is not a good starting edge rusher. Grenard is. Hunt still has to work at his run game, in my opinion. So, Nolan Smith is in a really critical year of his career. Nolan Smith, how about this? Nolan Smith can't end the season as a backup again, can he? How many people believe, get this, Bob, can Nolan Smith really end another year as a backup? We got a serious problem at drafting edges. Howie grabbed a safety and threw him in there. Dude, Howie can't draft edge rushers. He can't draft edge rushers. I mean, he can't draft edge rushers. That's why you signed Bryce Huff, Jonathan Grenard, Jalen Phillips. That's why you went out and got Hassan Reddick. Do you not see that? You have to go into free agency to cover the misses at edge. And Nolan Smith is a miss. Now, if Nolan Smith can play 17 games, I said this last year to you, when some of you in here were saying this, that he's going to get a $25 million contract. I think they're a little light at edge. Okay? And Jonathan Grenard's coming off of an injury. Sills, Nolan has definitely been a disappointment. Look at Byron Young for the Rams. He's had 27 and a half sacks in 3 years, and they got him in the third round. Yes. Now listen, I think Hunt's coming on. Okay? I think Hunt is solid, but Sills, you can't hit on every pick. You can't hit on any edge rushing pick. It's not that you don't hit on edge. You never hit on edge. But, Reds, I think Hunt is coming on. I do. I think Hunt is coming on. Okay? Really? Bro, if he was so fucking good, why are you constantly putting Nolan Smith as the starter? Bro, again, rose-colored glasses. Hey, Sills, I think the Nigerian dude is going to be a big version from the Detroit Lions with less playing experience, no game tape, but better measurables. One-hit season wonder. We'll see. And you know what? I really have no opinion on the kid from Nigeria. I don't know. I mean, I can't say he sucks. I can't say he's good. I just know he doesn't know what he's doing yet. Okay? So, the question of edge going into training camp. Do you think you need more help there? And do you think maybe this is why they're still in the conversation? Hey, Bob, you think maybe this is why in their conversation for Max Crosby? And by the way, the 30th pick can't be a backup. He can't be a backup. Okay? Remember what we said, Drew? Markel Bell, his competition is Fred. The Eagles want that. And that would be great. That would be great. Okay? We lost Sweat, Reddick, Milton, Slay, CJ, Hardgrave, blank. we've been losing guys and still sustaining a good roster on defense. But then you criticize Howie for letting players walk. Which way do you want it? Okay, well, once again, I want it if you're going to tell me you're getting rid of those players because you're signing Carter to a long-term contract extension and you are losing Milton Williams and you're losing a guy like Josh Sweat, and you told me last year, Twiz, that you can't sign everybody. Well, okay. If you let Moro Ojomo walk out the building, these are player development guys. Guys, you know what Twiz is missing? Bob, tell this guy. If you draft a guy in the 3rd, 4th, or 5th, or 6th, or 7th round, those are steals if they become drafters. If they become starters, and you draft a guy in the 7th round, and you get Moro Ojomo in the 7th round, and that guy turns out to be a great player, that's a fucking steal. You get him on a 7th round contract for 3 years. It's not an equity pick. If you redrafted Moro Ojomo, he'd be a low 1st rounder now or a 2nd rounder. If you redrafted Jalix Hunt, he might be a 2nd or low 1st round pick now. Those are enormous quality picks. Why? Because of the contract. When you are able to use those lower picks and starters, and you get a Milton Williams, and you're paying Milton Williams as a 3rd rounder, and he's a starter, and Milton gets a $26 million deal, and you allow that guy to walk out the building, this is why, again, you're not every year in the conversation for the Super Bowl. You're not. Because you're not valuing the Patriots and the Chiefs don't pay big money guys. They pay for rosters. You're getting into the category of paying for big player guys. And you're getting away from, look at the 2024 roster. How many Pro Bowlers did you have on that Super Bowl roster that year? How many Pro Bowlers? How many Pro Bowlers were on the 2024 defense? Two. Bond and Carter. Bond and Carter. You had 2 that were on that roster. 2. You didn't have Cooper and Q and Carter and whomever. Okay? You didn't have that. And he's right. 2,900 yards and 18 touchdowns. He sure did deliver. A shit season. Nolan, unfortunately, will be gone as well. Okay. Sweat was a 4th rounder, and you let these guys walk out the building. You're missing the point of drafting and player development. You want to reinvest in the picks you make in later rounds. Moro Ojomo is a better pick than Nolan Smith. Do you understand how this works? Like in many aspects, Moro Ojomo is turning out to be like a phenomenal pick. Sills, 3rd and 4th rounders are starters in solid depth. Rounds 5 and 7 are darts. Top 64 players need to be on your key players. They get the financial assets. Dude, when you get guys that are starting from the 5th round, 7th round, like Bob's saying, and you get those guys in there as starters, like Jordan Mailata and Moro Ojomo and Josh Sweat, and those dudes are players and really impact players for you, or Jason Kelsey, those are monster picks because teams missed on them. Okay? Listen to this. Says you're talking out of both sides of your mouth. You're hyping up the Patriots when they way they crying about us not keeping Milt. Come on. Here. The New England Patriots build their guys up from being, again, from they're taking younger players and free agents. When these guys mature, they let them go. But what do they have? They got player development. They name me a first-round guy that the Patriots ever had that was a superstar during the entire run of the Patriots on that team. Hightower and who? Oh, my God. So I would sign multiple players than Jaylen Carter. All right. Let's go to the next one. You can't even fucking get a decent answer on whether or not you think you're deep or not on edge without a bitch. Sills, with Eli Stowers, would you use him like Christian Watson or Tucker Kraft? I don't know. That guy didn't start in college. Kyle, how many games did Eli Stowers start at Vanderbilt? Let me see this. Eli Stowers, how many games did he start? Eli Stowers starts at Vanderbilt. You can't even ask a decent question on depth. Yeah, we got it. Yeah. And the first round pick stinks. Okay. How many games did he start? Let's see. Eli Stowers. Stats. Vandy. I mean, seriously, you can't even get a fucking decent answer out of you people. All right. How many games? Oh, I see. He transferred around. He went to A&M, New Mexico State. Then he went to Vanderbilt. 49 catches. Last year, he had 62 catches for 769 in college. That's pretty good for a tight end in college. That's pretty damn good. Okay. All right. We're moving on because people can't handle shit or questions. They can't stop crying about depth cells. Hey, Jalix Hunt, Jonathan Grenard, and Nolan Smith are your edge rushers. If you think that's fine, no problem. Yes, Sills, we need to find an all-pro force. How about a guy who fucking stays on the field? Is what I'm asking for, Brandon. How about a guy who could stay on the field? Okay, you have great depth. I don't think so. All right, let's go to the next one. Bunch of shit dragging, eagle glazing, knee scraping, crazy ass dumb people. Not all of you, but just nuts. All right. Here's a question here. Hell, with Crosby, I want Josh Sweat back. All right. I appreciate that tweet. Super. Thank you. Will Jeremiah Trotter push Jahad Campbell? By the way, is Jahad Campbell going to be ready for training camp? Or is this another hurt guy? Jahad Campbell. Status for training camp. So Jahad Campbell, according to the NFLPA, missed the entire spring practice period, OTAs, and the minicamp while recovering from a shoulder injury. Vic Fangio stated that the coaching staff believes that he will be ready for the start of training camp. And believes that he'll be in there at least at the beginning of training camp. So, he's missed the entire offseason with a shoulder injury. Started last year with a shoulder injury. It's meat scraping season. Yeah. Thank you, my friend. So, last year he started injured. This year he's entering training camp coming off of an injury. You think Trotter can push him for playing time? Let's say this. Do you believe, let's get some receipts here. Do you believe that Jahad Campbell will be an upgrade on Nakobe Dean? Yes or no? Let's see here. Do you believe that that Campbell will be an upgrade? Oh, not this guy. Sorry, we didn't mean to go there. Let's see. Oh, wait, I will use this guy here. I will use LJ. Campbell's a stud. That's why he got beat out when Dean came back. Sills complained all last season about Dead not being available. Who's Dead? He leaves and he's an all-pro. Who's Dead about Dead not being available? You mean Dean? No. I never complained about it. I never said, if he was such a good player, I said, why isn't he here? Dean never really was a good player here. Or you would have kept him. How is he a good player? You drafted a guy to replace him. All of you on draft day said, okay, all of you guys on draft day kept telling me what? What did you keep telling me on draft day? No, he's not here. He's going to play edge. No, he's not. You are, get this. Wait a second. Hold on here. Why isn't he here then? Well, why isn't he here? If he's so great, why didn't you keep him? You can't answer that if he was so great. He never got a second contract in Philly. If he's so great, why is he not here? Injuries. Okay, well, that's part of it. If a guy's a good player and he's always hurt and he's not here, that's not a good player. Says he was good when he played. Why isn't he here? Availability? That's part of everything, guy. That's part of the evaluation. Get this. Nakobe's actually injury prone, you doofus. You shit on him for years for that. Right. He's not here. He's not a good player. Or you would have kept him. He was a really good player, but we had to let him go. How in God's name do you actually have and put things together? And you can't, I mean, look, he was a really good player, but we let him go. We never gave him a second contract, or we never even offered him one. But he was a really good player. Yeah. I mean, you can't make that shit up. He's injury prone. No shit. Said it the whole time we talked about him. Sills, if Trotter Jr. pushes Campbell, that would be a huge issue. If your fifth round pick pushes out the first round pick, that stings. Campbell needs to be an upgrade if he's healthy. Okay. I agree. That's the take. You're right. Trotter can't push Campbell. Are we in agreement with that? Okay. Are we in agreement? Are we in agreement? Trotter can't push Campbell. Remember we saying this here on June 25th. Trotter can't push the Campbell. Is that correct? Okay. Sills, call me crazy as fuck, but I believe Trotter will outplay Campbell simply because Campbell is so far behind. I want to see how Campbell plays. Because a guy you let – get this. How about this, Tony? You want to hear something else? So you let a guy go that beat out your first-round pick? If he was playing so great last year, how come Dean beat him out and you let him go? So you let a guy go that got a pretty substantial deal with the Raiders. And that guy beat that guy out. But you're saying right now that that guy's going to be an upgrade. I'm on June 25th not saying he's not going to be. I'm just saying, will that guy push him? And to Bob's point, if that guy pushes him, you're in trouble. Okay? Now, again, these are just questions. Don't get your panties in a bind. I see some of you in here crying again. Remember, I do 7 hours of broadcasting a day. We bring questions to the table. Don't have to start crying. It's all good. So, one more time here. We agree that Campbell has to be an upgrade. Correct? Okay. That's all I'm asking. Also, since Campbell was good prior to Dean coming back, by default and familiarity, Dean started. Okay. You're saying that Campbell will be better than Nakobe Dean. Fair enough. June 25th, nobody's wrong, dude. Sills, here's a switch, though. If Trotter pushes, we could move Campbell over to Bond's spot, and he could free up Bond's money at the end of the year. That's a good take. Yeah, I'll agree with that. So you're saying if Trotter pushes Campbell, actually, that it's bad sign for having an opportunity here for Campbell to get beat out. Okay. Sadly, these SEC players come into the league injured. They are coin tosses. Okay. Seals, over the last few years, I know there isn't much content to discuss till camp. Let's be honest. Roseman, by uploading the fronts of contracts he created, is down dumpster fire with the cap. I have no problem. I've got tons of shit to talk about here, my friend. No crying here if Campbell is pushed out by Carter. It is what it is, Sells. Okay, no. Because I think somebody else had a good take there with that. That could be the end of Bond. If Trotter pushes Campbell, they may just do what he said. Not every comment or question here is for you to cry. So Eagle fans want tough questions for Mark Holmes, but can't take basic questions for Eagles' depth. Depth at edge is what you got. Bring back BG and trading for Phillips last year. DFW, you're dead right. You ask simple questions. Do you have enough depth? Look at the panty raising. Especially when you bring up a fact that Howie may have fucked up on the 30th pick in the draft because they think Howie is some sort of never miss guy. And they get all bent out of shape because Nolan Smith hasn't panned out. Nolan hasn't panned out. Not for the 30th pick. They put him in the starting lineup because they have to, because they got nobody else. Because they can't, and by the way, they can't draft at the position. Let's move on to another question. So we agree. Trotter can't push Campbell. Campbell's got to be healthy, and he's got to be a star this year. Fair enough. June 25th. Remember, Kim, do me a favor. Remember these and what we're saying. We'll see how Campbell plays. All right. Will Jalen Hunt push Nolan Smith off the roster this year? Yes or no? If that guy becomes the starter, what's the point of having Nolan Smith on the team? A first-round second pick? What guy on your football team did you draft in the first round is a backup? Is there anybody on your football team right now that you took in the second round or the first round, that's a backup? No. Right? So, here's a question. Does Jalen Hunt push Nolan Smith off the roster? Yes or no? Does he? Again, these are questions. No crying needed. So if Nolan plays well, he's too small and injury prone. Well, here's the thing. Isn't that what you did with Nakobe Dean? Isn't that what you did with Nakobe Dean? And by the way, these are just questions. Does Jalen Hunt push Nolan Smith off the roster? Yes or no? Hey, DFW, you think they're going to be basic, non-glazed donut questions upset you folks? Okay? Let's see here. What would Jalen Hunt's contract? What would it be? Well, if he comes in and has 12 sacks this year, what's the point of paying Nolan Smith's fifth-year option? He's a backup. If Jalen Hunt turns Nolan Smith into a backup, Nolan Smith's gone. They'll trade him. He's got a huge year this year. He's got an enormous year ahead of him. Okay? Sills, get this. Here. Sills, would you say every GM struggles at drafting certain positions? Same reason Jerry traded for Quinnen Williams last time they had one was Maryland. Yes, Kyle, I would. Here, look at this. Where is this here? Okay. So this guy says it's rage baiting when do you have enough depth at edge? That's rage baiting. Will Trotter push Jahad Campbell, who's been injured and missed the entire offseason program and was injured last year? And will Jalen Hunt, who's come on, push Nolan Smith? Is rage baiting. What's rage baiting about common questions that are heading into the season on guys who didn't perform last year? Those are just questions he doesn't want to hear. Those are simple questions, man. Those aren't rage baiting. Do you have enough depth at edge? Well, Trotter's having a really great camp. Trotter's actually in the coach's forefront. Rage baiting. I now learned one thing. Decent questions to Eagle fans, some of you, is rage baiting. Okay. So even Cowboys have to think about Quinnen Williams. He is out of guaranteed money after this year. Jerry has to get ready to reset the market with Williams' new deal next year. Dude, I love that football player. I think that guy can play his ass off. He is a really good player. Okay? And for the record, one thing on Nolan Smith, how can you say you have good edge when the guy can't stay healthy? And in 3 years has started 21 ball games. How do you have good depth? There. We'll move on. Because, again, these are a little bit more difficult for you guys. All right. How good, heading into training camp, these are some of the questions we have. How good do you believe Makai Lemon will be in this new offense with Sean Mannion, who's a first-year play caller and a player who's seemingly having a little difficulty with the playbook? How good will he be this year? Let me guess. That's rage baiting too. How good would he be? That's rage baiting. That's a new one. Lemon will be average at best. Okay? How good would this guy be? By the way, in an offense, in a passing game, that was terrible the last 5 years. Okay? He's not Devontae Smith. I think he's going to be better than Dotson. By the way, what was Dotson? Hey, James, are you in here? Do me a favor, James. What was Jahan Dotson drafted? What number was he drafted in the NFL draft? What pick was he? And what draft pick was Jahan Dotson? What pick did they take him out of Penn State? Jahan Dotson. What pick was he? He was the 16th pick. In the first round. Was Lemon what was Lemon? Makai Lemon. Let's see. What was Makai Lemon? Makai Lemon, what was he taken in the NFL draft? He was the 20th player taken. So Jahan Dotson was a higher draft pick and a higher draft prospect. Makai Lemon was a lesser pick and a lesser prospect, but he'll be better, right? Fair enough. I mean, Jahan Dotson was a better prospect coming out of college than what Makai Lemon was. Okay? Was he not? Most of my Georgia boys will be gone. Davis surprised me. We'll see. Yeah. Dotson was a better prospect by far. Dotson went to the Commanders and was overdrafted, but not Lemon, right? Is that what you're saying? Okay. I mean, June 25th, the kid hasn't played it down yet. I don't know. But you're under the assumption that the kid's going to come in and be a superstar when you had a guy on your team that was drafted ahead of him that's kind of not been a good football player. And he was a better prospect than Lemon coming out of college. I mean, but you're convinced Lemon's a better prospect, even though he wasn't drafted higher. Okay. Have heard on the Talking Head say the Eagles reached at that pick, dude. I'm asking a question, guy. You're under the assumption that Makai Lemon is going to be better than Jahan Dotson. Based on what? He wasn't picked higher. Okay? No. It was a weaker quarterback draft. Oh, hold on. Sills, look at the quarterback throwing him the ball. Where, in Philly? Should they just cut? Don't get upset, guy. It's just a question. Dotson was a higher prospect coming out of college than Dotson was. Why are you moaning over that? He may turn out to be a really good. Hey, by the way, if you think Mekhi Lemon is a better prospect than what Devontae was, Devontae's never been a 1 yet. He's nowhere in Devontae Smith's league as a route runner or as a player. Seals better. His upside or less money. Better is a relative term. Wait a minute. I got to go to Twiz here because I'm sure he'll be the next Randy Moss. Lemon was talked about being the first wide receiver off the board before his weird interview where he looked stoned. Great guy to bring up. Well, like I said, he hasn't played it down yet. I'm not going nuts on the kid. All I brought up is that the guy you had on your team that was in the 3-hole was a better prospect coming out of college than Lemon was. Had a higher rating, too, and a higher grade. Here. Had nothing to do with, like, strength of the draft. Here. Jahan Dotson. Draft profile. Here. What did he have? 6.25. Let's see. .47. Pretty much the same guy. 83. We're both 83. I think both are 83. Let me see. 83. Was Dotson 83? He was 81. So Jahan Dotson's an 81 and Mekhi Lemon's an 83. Okay, pretty much the same dude. All right. We shall see. It's got nothing to do with who's in the draft. That's your pre-draft grade and what you got. If Smitty and Lemon end up being your number 1 and number 2, then the Eagles will be in trouble with bigger physical corners. Mighty Mouse duo. Yeah, well, I don't think you're going to be facing a lot of big-time corners on that schedule yet. We're going to take a look at that because I liked what I think it was Donnell who said that. Seals, if Lemon had a pocket passer, I would love this pick. That's a great take. Okay. Let's see here. Yeah. Okay. Hey, my friend, don't get butthurt because they're the same guy. Don't get butthurt, kid. Here's another. Get this. So these questions have aggravated Eagle fans today. Do you have enough depth at edge? Will Trotter push Jahad Campbell, who's been injured? Will Jalix Hunt push Nolan Smith off the roster? How good will Mekhi Lemon be? These are really upsetting you? Hey, Tony, have you ever seen people get more butthurt over the simplest questions in your life? Or is it just the way we're saying it? I mean, these are just simple, normal questions. I wrote these down just like a couple minutes ago, and you're that bent? All right. Surely, Tony, this will be an easy one for people. Okay? This will be an easy one for people to swallow. Okay? All right. Who's the backup quarterback in Philly? Who's the backup quarterback in Philly? So far in training camp, they've been splitting time. Okay? Now, I'm going to actually go here and say, all right, well, that leads us to this. Why would it be Dalton and not Tanner McKee? Reyes, I'd like to really hear you. Why are you saying Dalton? So glad we got Mitchell instead of Arnold. You're right. Reyes, why is it Dalton? I got a theory on this. When you get, okay? Dude, bro switches topics when he gets caught in what? Do the Eagles have depth at edge? Will Trotter push Campbell? Will Mackay be better? I mean, how good would he be? Caught in what? Dude. Yeah. Oh, my God. This is great. Where are you, Reyes? There you go. That guy is just lost, dude. Hey, what an exercise today. And people getting butthurt. Tanner got somewhere. Tanner going somewhere, man. I still don't know why. But even at that, Dalton has like 40 years of experience, can still play. I agree. My question would be, Reyes, the reason they're putting, and you guys tell me, the reason that they're putting Dalton behind Hurts is because they want Jalen to see how the offense in their eyes should be performed by a pocket passer. Andy Dalton's not an RPO guy. There you go, Kim. Is it like here? And Kim, I think you're right. Think of this. He's played in this scheme, right? And you see it on film. You're showing Jalen on film and everything and in practice what you want to accomplish. And then Andy goes in and Andy can talk to Jalen. And it's a better communication because how about this, Kim? What would Tanner McKee know about this style of play? He's never really played this and what they're going to try to accomplish and what they did in Green Bay. I don't give a shit what that kid did at Stanford. A Stanford offense versus Matt LaFleur's offense is night and day. So I think the reason that they're putting Andy Dalton in the second hole is so Hurts can walk over to the sidelines and do this. Hey, man, am I seeing it right? How many times did you look at Tom Brady? Okay. Yes. Dalton is another tool Hurts can utilize to his advantage to advance his knowledge. But the ace in the sleeve is still that he can still go in if he needed. Yes, that's exactly right. And that's exactly how I see that. And I think that's why, again, look, Andy Dalton's not a threat in any way to take Jalen Hurts' job, and nobody's saying that here. But it is another tool. You walk to the sidelines, Hurts has never really had a backup quarterback that he can walk over to the sidelines and go like this. What are you seeing? How many times has Brady walked over? Who was the backup quarterback that Brady used to like go over and talk to? Who was that guy? Was that Jags guy, Mark Brunell? Who was the dude he used to have as a backup quarterback? I think he may have had him in Tampa too. And Brady always wanted like a experienced guy. I don't think Brady ever really had like a rookie or some dude behind him. I don't think it was Mike Glennon. Castle early. I don't remember Zappy behind Brady. Yeah, it was this kid. He was behind Brady. And Brian Hoyer, that's right. Brian Hoyer. You guys are right. Brian Hoyer. Now, Brian Hoyer's nowhere going to be a talent guy. Okay? He's not, but you can be a film smart guy and go like this. I'm seeing the same thing. What are you seeing? That doesn't mean he's going to go out and execute it on the field because he doesn't have the skill set to do it. That doesn't mean he doesn't know what he's talking about. It's like being a coach. Dude, you know what you're talking about. Hey, get this. Sean Mannion knows what he's talking about. He just can't execute it on the field, right? Because he's a former player. He just can't execute it. He's got a vision on what he wants to see, but the guy doesn't have the skill set for that. So, for me, I think you're exactly right. I think Reyes is right. He's got another vehicle. I think the backup quarterback is going to be essential in Jalen Hurts and how he sees this new offense. You got a former, get this. Reyes, tell me if you think this dynamic, or anybody, Bob, anybody that's got a brain. Don't you see the same dynamic? Doug Peterson and Frank Wright, Sean Mannion, and Andy Dalton. You basically have two backup quarterbacks, and one guy was a former starter talking to the starting quarterback, and they see the game. And to me, I think that might actually be the best setup that Jalen Hurts has had in his 5 years here. That might just be the best setup. And so to the point of the coordinating, Andy Dalton might sit there with Sean Mannion and look at Sean Mannion. Get this. He may look at Sean Mannion, Reyes, and go like this on the sidelines. Yeah, I don't know, man. Because I would look at Andy Dalton. Let me show you something about Andy Dalton, why I think this is a good move. This is a pretty smart move by the Eagles if you really dissect it. Shit, Andy Dalton won a shitload of football games, dude. He did, man. I mean, and he did it in a place you don't win. Look at this. First 5 years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Andy Dalton was 50 and what? 13, 10. He was 50 and 26 and 1 in his first 5 years starting in Cincinnati, and threw for 33 touchdowns and 4,200 yards, almost 4,300 yards that season when he went 11 and 5. This guy's won ball games too, man. That's a pretty good skill set to have behind you. Okay? Let me see here. Eagles won the Super Bowl last year. Let them let it know. They did. The only thing is, will Jalen trust and listen to Dalton, who can you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. That's fair enough. Okay? But I do think he will. I think I'll tell you what, I'd listen more to a backup quarterback who won ball games in the NFL than a guy who was a first-time play caller. And I think if you have that dynamic working, I think you, in my opinion, I think you're ahead of the game. All right, so Jason Cole's going to join us at 4:30. I thought, you know what? We haven't talked to our friend Joe Krause in a long time. And we haven't heard his thoughts. He does a great job, by the way, doing a lot of Philly stuff. And over the next couple weeks here, this week and next week, again, I think Zander's back next week as we get closer to the 4th of July. We haven't had Big Joe on the program. I'd love to get his thoughts as they're like 34 days away from training camp. So let's bring Big Joe on now and talk some football with him. Joe, we haven't talked.
I don't think I've
in a long
ever,
time, right?
I don't think I've ever come on the National Football Show as a guest with an opinion. I've certainly come on to talk about the Savvy Seats promotion. I've certainly come on to talk about Humpty's Dumplings. I've certainly come on to talk about our big tailgate this year that's happening on the against the Commanders on the 13th of September. But I don't think I've ever been here replacing Zander in this role. And I may not ever want to come back here when we end it today. But Dan, I jumped back into the chair just to kind of listen. And I know it's your show. I'll let you take the lead. But I don't even think Andy Dalton's making the roster. You know, in terms of when you get down to selecting the final 53. I think Dalton, no disrespect to him and what he's been able to do a long time ago in the NFL, but the Eagles already have a former quarterback. He's their new offensive coordinator. They don't need another cook in the kitchen. And I think Andy Dalton took more snaps than Tanner McKee in some of the mini camp practices to give the Eagles a better look at where Andy Dalton is right now. I don't even know how long he's been in the year. It has to be over 12 years or so. So from that standpoint, unless Tanner McKee becomes a trade piece, I don't see Andy Dalton.
He is a trade piece.
Well, if the Eagles pull the trigger.
Well, no, at the end of the year, he's a free agent.
Well, free agent, but that's not going to change the dynamic. He's not going to demand it. He's going to be on the Eagles roster.
Not next year, he'll be a free agent.
I'm talking about this year.
Yeah, no, this year. If he's part of the future, Joe, why won't? So you're not extending him to if he's part of your future, and if he is your backup moving forward, how come they haven't addressed that? You're going to let the 2026 season end, and then when March 14th starts, he gets to sign with any team he feels like it.
Yeah, and I think the Eagles are okay with that.
Then he's not part of the future.
Yeah, he's the backup for 26. He's under contract for 26, and he's the backup unless he ends up he's in a trade, and then the Eagles need a backup like Dalton. I think the real hidden diamond is Cole Payton. And I think Payton is going to develop a lot faster and a lot quicker than perhaps people are giving him credit for. He's a 5-year college player. He's a gunslinger. He's got good size. He's got good build. He can fit into an offense and extend the plays. And I think he's the guy that the Eagles are going to potentially lean on. And not to replace Jalen, but he's the guy that if the unfortunate situation comes up where Jalen ends up in concussion protocol and he's out of a game or he's got to sit a game, I think it's Payton. Unless McKee is still on the roster and then you continue to bring along Cole Payton. This
is going to be a great segment because I'm completely on the other side of that. I think the guy, I don't see anything with the kid. And I mean, I didn't see anything in college with the guy. I mean, I had to YouTube his highlights. And I was like, again, it's against lesser competition. Well, then again, that doesn't mean he doesn't have skill set that you can't work with. Now, Joe, here's my problem with that take, though. If you're going into a West Coast style offense, that guy has never shown any skill set of playing in that West Coast offense. He's an RPO quarterback. He's not a West Coast guy. Everything they're doing right now is to try to get away from what they did. That guy's skill set, and this is why the draft pick was kind of like a little bit wild for me because, wait a minute, they want to go to this Mannion, Matt LaFleur, Sean McVay offense to throw the ball and spread it around across the middle. Well, that's not what this kid did in college. He was more of an RPO running guy.
That's not what Jalen is, Dan.
Yeah, but they're getting away from that too this year.
But that's my point. That's where I strongly and it's no secret. I'm a Jalen Hurts fan. I'm a Jalenite, right? I'm a Jalen fan. But the Eagles aren't doing Jalen Hurts any justice at all by switching gears and bringing in Sean Mannion to install an offense that doesn't suit the athletic ability of your $50 million quarterback.
This is my problem, Joe, with people, and I completely 1,000% agree with you. Here, you're 50-18. You've won 2 NFC titles. You've won a Super Bowl. The kid's in the conversation for MVP. You're just trashing that and going, let's go here. That's why I don't see a lot of success this year with that and then what they're going to try to accomplish. Why are you – I would have let that pony's hoofs fall off until that thing broke down. Why would you deviate? Jalen Hurts knows the path to get to someplace. Why are you trying to give him a different roadmap to get there when the kid knows the roadmap? It just doesn't make sense to me.
And you can add into that statement, and this is one of the other struggles or one of the other challenges from my perspective. You get rid of and you trade off A.J. Brown, and you can put in brackets that A.J. Brown didn't want to be here anymore. But all he's done since the Eagles traded for him on draft day back in 22 is, one, make Devontae Smith, who was a great receiver coming out of college when the Eagles drafted him.
High prospect.
He's not. Devontae Smith is in one level.
Yeah.
And with all due respect to Mekhi Lemon,
yeah,
he's looking up the ladder.
Yeah,
he's
absolutely.
not in the same level.
He's
so
not.
You move on from A.J. Brown and you trade him away. You don't replace the wide receiver room, or you create a collaborative in the wide receiver room that doesn't have the ability to duplicate or to make up for what you lost with A.J. Brown.
That's right. Volume, Joe, volume doesn't cover talent.
No,
and that's what they've done. That's what they've done. They think by committee, they're going to try to come up with numbers to try to equal. You know what it looks like a little to me? You ever watch the movie Moneyball? And they had to get rid of a guy like Jeremy Giambi, and they had to bring in a bunch of guys to try to create, because it was lesser money, lesser whatever, and they were bringing a bunch of players, 4 or 5 players, to replace 39 home runs and 100 RBIs that Jason Giambi gave you. Well, that means you're still dropping in talent, and you're dropping the offense in talent. The Eagles' offense in 26 is a lesser unit than it was the last 2 years, based on age and losing AJ, and you're changing course and how you're trying to get to those benchmark 11 wins. What really sucks about this whole thing, what the Eagles are doing, is that your floor is what the Jets are praying their ceiling is. 11 wins. Get rid of AJ, change the offense. Man, you are really asking for a lot of change. Joe, you know this in any business or in anything you do in life. When you do a lot of change, you create a lot more chaos and things that you have to somehow cover. People don't like change. The great organizations are the ones that are the quietest in the offseason, not the loudest.
Yeah, but they're also, there is an appropriate time when a change needs to be made. But again, if you take the body of work that Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts have completed in their tenure together to this point in time, it's the obligation of the franchise to feed the beast and win. John McMullen told me this morning that Jeffrey Lurie wants to win. He wants to win at all costs. The reason that Howie has a blank checkbook is because Jeffrey Lurie wants to win. Well, if you want to win, and the organization wants to win, and they want to get back to the Super Bowl, where they dominated the Kansas City Chiefs just 2 seasons ago, there is absolutely no reason to go through a complete transformation on offense with the wrong pieces.
Here, Joe.
That's my biggest issue.
Here's to that point. Yes, completely true. Here's why Bob Kraft is different than what Jeffrey Lurie is. You remember a couple years back when they wanted to make that switch from Brady to Garoppolo because they started seeing maybe some father time. Remember that famous, we're on to Cincinnati? Well, Brady would go on and win 3 more Super Bowls after that, we're on to Cincinnati. And Bob Kraft stayed out of the way and let the organization run its course. Lurie gets in the way of the course. And when you're course changing like that and you have such a hands-on, now your kid's involved in it, now you're involved in day-to-day what you're going to do with coaching hires. Kraft never got involved with that. He had one centerpiece guy in Belichick. Belichick ran the personnel. He hired the coaches. And what I loved about how New England did, most coaching staffs have 30 coaches. You know what New England had during the Belichick time? They had 12. There was more clarity in the building. There was one voice in the building, and that was the head coach. Now, he would jump in if he had to with the Spygate, the Flakegate, to tell the guy, what the hell are you doing? He would jump in that way. But what made him great, and this is to Jerry Jones's fault. Jerry Jones is hand. Dude, you are not going to create consistency on a year-to-year basis if you don't allow your people to do their job. Let your coach. I don't know how good a coach Nick Sirianni could actually be if he was allowed to be a coach. He's got to answer to so much. He doesn't pick the personnel. You hear him all the time at press conferences, Joe. How he does a great job at evaluating. How he does a great job at bringing guys in. How he does a good job of this. Dude, really great coaches have some say in how they want that offense to be run. What personnel can I bring in? It's not.
But I'm okay. I mean, I'm okay. I may be different from most. I'm okay with Nick being smart enough to know what he doesn't know. And I'm okay with Nick being in a position of what is that delegating head coach who delegates and allows Vic Fangio to operate and run that defense without any input from him at all.
True.
I'm okay with that. As a matter of fact, I think in many situations, that's the way it should be.
That's how the Rams run that.
Yeah, that's how it should be. But when you make a decision to bring in Mannion and shift course and immediately go 10 yards further away from the strength of your quarterback, and then you cut one of the top 3 to 5 wide receivers in the league who's done nothing but deliver the goods since you got him on draft day. And out the door he goes, and you don't replenish or replace the talent in the room, and you put it all on Mekhi Lemon to be a great number 2. I want to know what's going to happen to Devontae Smith without the support of a 1-2 punch.
Correct.
It's Devontae Smith. We know he's a great receiver, but Devontae was a great receiver in the shadow of another great receiver, and that was a different dynamic. If you're on defense, if you're a defensive coordinator, hey, we're shutting down Devontae Smith. If we're going to lose the game, let Dontavian Wicks, beat us on a 45-yard strike with some yaks for a touchdown. Happening.
That's totally my position as well. I'm with you on that. All right, let me ask you this one here. A couple more here, Joe, as we get to the top of the hour here. Let me ask you this one. How did you land? And I'm saying Eagles. How did the front office land for a second year in a row on a dude that's never, ever, ever, ever built a game plan, has never called situational play calling? Hey, Joe, drawing plays on a chalkboard and putting plays up on how to scheme up receivers versus situational play calling on Sundays. My problem with Mannion is not Monday through Saturday. My problem with Mannion is Sunday. Look at how many years it took Vic Fangio to win a Super Bowl. It took him 40 years to win a Super Bowl with the right situation. He's been a great coordinator the entire time, but it's taken him time. If people think that a wide receiver like Mekhi Lemon or any other football player, it takes time to develop, right? You need reps. You need reps as a player to get better. Look at Brandon Graham. It took him his first 5 years before he learned. Why wouldn't it take a play caller? You're just not going to walk in and go like this. Hey, I'm going to be Sean McVay or Kyle Shanahan or Andy Reid calling plays. I mean, why would they land on the same thing twice in a row in 2 years straight and think that's the right move for a Super Bowl MVP quarterback?
And the backup plan with that has to already be, and I've got to believe they already know it. And if the Eagles get out of the box in that first handful of games on the schedule, and they're sitting there at 1-4 or 2-3, that's enough of a body of work where the Eagles are going to have to make it. The Eagles are going to have to adjust.
That means they're not all in, though, Joe.
What's that?
That means they're not all in then.
They're not. They're not going to be. Yeah, they're going to have to. Because if they don't, then it's the other result. It's ride it out. It's take your lumps. It's let Dan Sileo be right, who predicted 8 wins on the season. It's a move away from Jalen Hurts. And
that's the only reason I'm picking that. It's not because of the talent on the team. It's because of direction and the course change.
Yeah. And that course change, unfortunately, at least in my opinion, could mean that the Eagles are not going to give Jalen Hurts the money that he is going to command or that he's going to receive. The dollars aren't coming down. John went through the $50 million club today, and we got into this long conversation about the financials that make up how an NFL team is structured. And from the Players Association, the dollars aren't coming down. No. So the quarterback position is only going to get higher. And John used the analogy of Seattle this year and a quarterback who's making $32 million. I think that's the exception, not the rule. And if the Eagles are going to end up in that position, then the Eagles of today are over. We will not see them. And the Eagles then are in a rebuild. And that is another process that's going to take ultimately the circle of life to make a big splash 4 years down the road and get enough talent to win. Dan, you played the game at a high level. Every football game in the National Football League comes down to 5 big plays. And most of the time, those 5 plays are made by big stars and the big players who are making the money. And without that, this team's going, to your point, I don't want to cover a team that's a bad football team.
No.
And they're taking themselves, in my opinion, out of the window.
It's self-inflicted.
Yeah, it's self-inflicted. They're taking themselves out of the upper echelon of the league. And there's no reason to do it. There's no reason to do it.
And look at here.
And listen, it appears now, from what everybody says, the offensive line, the 5 starters across the front are healthy to begin. If they're healthy within the season, and remember, they were healthy in the Super Bowl run.
Yep.
Right? They get a lot of load management.
Yep.
I'll give them as much load management as they want. But if the 5 offensive linemen are healthy, you got the best offensive line in football, or you got a top 3 offensive line. You got a quarterback you got a quarterback and a head coach that have a winning record that exceeds what most NFL teams will never get to. And instead of closing the door on everybody else, you're putzing around with potential changes, Dan, that are going to knock you out of contention, are going to open the door for Dak and the Cowboys, who right now have more skill at the receiver position.
Better offense.
And better offense. And, oh, by the way, maybe not this year, but Harbaugh up the road, up the turnpike.
Oh, yeah, he's going to win.
Football coach. He's going to win.
He's going to win.
So why would you allow yourself to go back into normalcy when you've already put yourself so far ahead of everyone else?
Let me get to you.
And that's my frustration.
Let me get to the last one here before we let you go here. So
I've been saying 30 minutes for me on the National Football Show is big stuff.
No, I think you're cooking today. I think you're cooking, dude.
If and I'm not throwing this out there because I want an invite, but if I ever see an invite come across via text on my phone.
All right, you got it.
No. Hey, Krause. No, let me finish. You didn't let me finish.
Okay.
Hey, Krause. You want to join me on Sports Grid this weekend?
Okay.
No, I'm not doing it. But if I ever see that, Dan, just know I appreciate it. I'll say no. I'll tell you to get Zander on there before me, but just know I'll appreciate it.
Football season, I've already got it going on. Zander's going on that show.
Yeah, that's good, man.
Okay. I'm going to tell him to wear the shirt and the whole 9 yards.
By the way, you should see him over in Italy, dude. He's not wearing the Kango. He's got the new Italian brim. He's got the glasses. This kid's typing in the family chat in Italian to us. I don't know if he's just
holy cow.
Yeah, this is it is crazy, man. It's all good.
Robert De Niro over there in a fedora.
I have never seen Zander happier than he has ever been right now following his marriage to Emily.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, really cool stuff. Great to see. And I get it. It's early in the process.
Oh, yeah.
But amazing to see. But, man, he's rocking some new hats, dude. So.
All I would say is this to you. Just remember this. In about 7 months, when you ask what's for dinner and you get that look, just remember that's coming for the next 30-some-odd years. I've been married to my wife for 38 years. So I got one last one here for you, my friend. So the Jaylen Carter conversation. Boy, I do not believe he's a $36 million player. I haven't seen a $36 million player. I've seen where I think he could be a $36 million player. First year was a, rookie year. Second year, he was really good. Last year, it was too spotty for me with many things that I had a question on. And I see the guy, Jeffrey Simmons in Tennessee. He's a better football player. How do I feel if I'm Howie going like this? And I happen to know Drew Rosenhaus very well. Drew's not going to take less money, dude. And as you said, the money's not coming down. Okay?
Yeah.
How do you think they handle this?
I think the internal concern on Jaylen Carter is the injury. I don't think the shoulder. I don't think it has anything to do with his immaturity. Actually, part of the conversation I actually had with, it's funny you bring that up, but part of the conversation I had in the beginning of Birds 365 with Johnny Mack this morning was, what kind of person is and you would be able to relate to this. What kind of person is Jaylen Carter in the locker room? I'm not talking about, does he get along with his players?
Clint Hurt loves him.
Does he walk into the room and is he a magnet in the room, in the locker room? Does he have the swag? Dan,
he's engaging. I'll tell you what, the D-line coach is a friend of mine and played at Miami. His name is Clint Hurt. And the kid is one of the more engaging people. He's one of those guys that always smiling, says great things. Joe, he's not an asshole.
He's not.
He's not. He's a good kid that I think sometimes there's just lapses in judgment that kind of, again, Jerome Brown had a lot of lapses in judgment. Okay, but he was a super guy, man. I mean, some of these alpha guys like that are like that. You get them on a football field and they're terrorists. You get them off the football field, they're wonderful people. And I think he's in that category as well.
Yeah, you're probably, you would know better than I. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't be able to say emphatically yes or no, because I don't cover the team in that respect. That's why I was asking John. And by the way, I value your opinion because you've been inside the locker room. But if the Eagles have a concern, I think it's the injury. And can Jaylen rise to another level within the structure of a new deal? That's, I think, what the Eagles are trying to figure out. And listen, we don't know. The medical team that consults the Eagles might have a completely different report on Jaylen Carter than what is publicly known. I'm not saying that to be 100% true, but why wouldn't, no one's been able to tell me, and I haven't been able to find it anywhere, why hasn't Howie made the deal and set the market before the market was set? And if it's not because he spit on Dak Prescott. No. It's not because of any of that. So the only other thing that it could be is that Howie tried, and your buddy Rosenhaus said, pump the brakes, Howie. This guy's going north of 40 million. That's where the market's going.
That's exactly where they are.
And that then becomes.
But I'm hearing it's the guaranteed money and potentially an extra year that is the difference in the negotiations. And they came out initially with a Chris Jones 31-9. They went a little above Chris Jones, the DT in Kansas City. And Rosenhaus said, absolutely not. And then what screwed it all up, as you just said, Jeffrey Simmons got ahead of Howie and kind of caught him off guard, went to 35-2. Now you got a whole different conversation now. And that's, by the way, Joe, that's not where they're going with Jaylen, because at the beginning of this year, mark my words, by the start of the season, Lamar Jackson's going to sign a $63.4 or $5 million deal. Now you're talking about, if you do give Hurts $64 million, you're talking about $14 million more annually. For Howie to let this go down like that with both those positions, I really think they're pausing on both guys, and they've got concerns on both guys, and 26 is going to be a tell-all year for those two guys.
Yeah, it could end up, Dan, that the Eagles are at some point will officially become in the rebuild that they already are in. They're just not saying it. And maybe that, maybe that is the case. I hope not. I want Jalen Hurts to be the Eagles quarterback for the length of his next contract. I don't know how he can be that quarterback with the system that they're putting in place. So,
hey, all I'm saying is, you're damn right I want him to be, because you know why?
Why?
That guy's a king of content for me, man. Hey, I mean, covering Tanner McKee's not going to be the thing for me. I can tell you that.
Jalen Hurts, the face of the franchise. The new Amex commercial just came out for the World Cup with Jalen inside the Bellevue. What a great spot. Well representative of this franchise. I think the only member of the $50 million club that can claim, well, no, outside of Mahomes, and Mahomes is really, he's at a different level. I always tell the Godfather, and I'll get out of here, I don't mean to chew into your time. I always tell the Godfather, the Philly Godfather is a 1%er, right? He is in what is considered rarefied air, right? Patrick Mahomes is in rarefied air. There's rarefied air, and then there's the next level down. And Jalen, and in order to get into rarefied air, you got to accomplish for a long time, have great success. So I don't expect Jalen Hurts to ever be there. But if Jalen Hurts continues to do what he's done, I know one thing: the franchise is going to win if they don't screw it up.
That's right. If they stop acting like a Super Bowl champion team around him, okay, that's when you're going to see a lot of the things that we talk about rear its head. If they don't, they're going to continue to win. The guy won a Super Bowl with 2,900 yards and 18 touchdowns. That should tell you all you need to know about Roseman and building a football team. All right, Joe, I'm going to let you go here.
And Dan, I'll end on this. Rosenhaus. Drew.
Very well. Known him over 45 years.
That deal with Jaylen Carter is not getting done unless Drew Rosenhaus says, Jalen, it's okay to do it. If he doesn't, because Drew Rosenhaus has already predicted where that market and where his money's going to be, he's not going to sign.
Look what he did with Jalen Phillips. Jalen Phillips, he went like this with him. Do you know that Howie on Thursday, I'll tell you, Joe, on the way out here. So on Thursday, when free agency was just coming around for that Monday, if you remember right, noon or think it was on Monday, Thursday, Drew went to Howie. Howie came to him and said, here's 27.5. Drew said, I'll get back to you. That Friday, Dan Morgan, who played at the University of Miami and is the general manager of the Carolina Panthers, said, I'll give you 4 years and 30. They never got back with Howie.
Yeah, they never called him back.
And get this. He called up Jalen Phillips on Saturday night. Jalen Phillips hadn't gone anywhere. He had only done Zooms with a couple teams. And by Monday morning, Howie didn't even know it until he had signed that contract with Carolina. When that thing went noon, they hadn't even followed up. They just took the 4 years because no one was giving a fourth year and no one was giving a $30 million annual deal to a guy, Joe, that had never been to a Pro Bowl, let alone the fact that he was the highest signed guy at defensive end. They never even went back because you know why? He knew Howie wasn't going to go there with a fourth year.
Yeah.
Why go back and twist him off and go like this, knowing full well he's got Jaylen Carter's contract now to deal with. He is not going to bend and take a hometown.
As a matter of fact, he already knows the money on. He already knows what the money is on Jaylen.
And you know what, too, Joe? I wouldn't be shocked if he's got a team lined up already to move that guy. That he has a place that somebody would give him the $36 million. I would not. I know him. A place like Buffalo would do that. A place like Chicago might do that. He's got connections right now to where if they don't do that, don't put it past Drew to demand a trade at the end of this season.
No, I think it's inevitable, to be honest with you, unless the Eagles cave to Roseman's expectation, or not Roseman? Rosenhaus. Unless they negotiate on his terms, I think Jaylen Carter is wearing a new uniform, next season.
Absolutely.
Unless somehow it's forced out sooner than that. But
Joe, we're going to do this again, man. That was great.
All right. Good stuff, man. Appreciate it.
You got you, brother. Thank you so much. That's Joe Krause. We appreciate him doing that for us. Don't forget, too, we're going to talk at the bottom of the hour, we're going to talk to our friend, Jason Cole. That'll be at the bottom of the hour. That was great stuff, man. And see, by the way, Joe and I were kind of talking the same language. Dude, I'm picking 8 wins, not because you got a bad roster. I'm picking 8 wins because of the course change. It's not because of bad talent. It's because of bad course change. That's where I'm at. We're going to get into the Cowboys, Commanders, the Giants. We're going to do that here in a second here. Let me get to some of your comments here. Jalen can go. Get any decent passer, and the offense will be the same, if not better. The question is, Hurts a dual threat if he's easily replaceable. So, and even so, he won't be a dual threat long. Listen, he's a weapon when he's dual threat. When he's a pocket passer, he's not. When Dean was on the field, he was great. That was his problem, okay? We only need a course change because of Jalen permanent training wheels Hurts. Okay? No problem. Howie got the best cap team in the NFL. Rand's only team in Seattle gets it why they give up their first-round picks all the time. Let me tell you something, Dodd. The Rams have drafted in the last 11 years 3 first-rounders. And they get it. They don't give a shit about their first-round picks. They care about great players today. You're right. Think about that. In the last 11 years, the Rams have only picked in the first round 3 times. They don't buy that. They don't give a shit about those first-round picks. They could care less. Sills, Dean was a little truck. He can run. He ran people over. Dude, okay? Yes, we are on the same page. Yes. The league getting strict with RPO calls is what really hurts and the Eagles offense. That's a great take, Ernest. I've always said this, Ernest. I never believed that the NFL referees knew how to legislate penalties against Michael Vick and Cam Newton because they ran the football. I think sometimes they struggle with really legislating penalties against Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. I think those guys that run, and it's harder for those referees because it's more subjective. Is that a hit on a running back or is that a hit on a quarterback? When you got Tom Brady and a pocket passer and you hit those guys, you know those guys aren't trying to get extra yardage with their wheels. Sills, did you know that Dean was injury prone? Well, ask yourself this, my friend. When you drafted him, he was injured. Okay? I mean, when you run, you're a legal hit. That's why that hit on Jackson Dart, that Jackson Dart hit was a legal hit. You know that one when he was tiptoeing down the sidelines and got annihilated? That guy, that was a right and legal hit because he was a running back. But, okay. Hold on. Now you accept that, Sills. What the fuck? We told you for months that the illegal man downfield penalties are why they did. No. That's not why they ditched the RPO. They ditched the RPO because they wanted to start throwing the football, and the quarterback wanted to start throwing the football. That's why they ditched it. And get this, guess what he's saying here? How about this? You ditch the RPO with an RPO quarterback. Smart, Reyes. You're making it sound like that guy is some sort of passer in the pocket. He's not. Why in God's name would you can the RPO with an RPO quarterback? Okay? No. Cam Newton and Vic can throw the ball. Your boy can't. Dude. Guys, once again, complete it. Listen, Jalen Hurts, folks. Jalen Hurts, is he not an RPO quarterback? Yes or no? Is Jalen Hurts an RPO quarterback? Yes or no? Is Hurts an RPO quarterback? Yes or no? Okay. Yes. Okay. Then why would you take the RPO away and assume he can throw the ball? What's the flip-flop? By taking the RPO away from a guy who's not very good in the pocket. Cam Newton was good in the pocket. Dude. My God. So you take away, you're under the assumption Hurts is a good passer. He's not. Russell Wilson is a superior passer than Jalen Hurts. There's nothing that he's done that's even remotely close. Dude, Russell Wilson led the NFL in passing touchdowns. Hurts will never do that. And by the way, why do you think illegal man downfield? Because Hurts can't set protections. My God. You can't make this shit up with some of you guys. Even you spammer guys are idiots. Thank you very much, Suave. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yes. Yes, good passer when on the run. I'll how about this? Okay. I'm under the impression that Hurts is a Super Bowl winning quarterback, and that's something you can't debate, argue. I don't care if he cartwheels his way to wins. As long as it happens, he can continue. Dude, just because he won the Super Bowl doesn't make him an elite player. It's ridiculous. Nick Foles was an elite. This is the disconnect with college football and the NFL. They develop them completely opposite. Yeah, because you know why? Coaches in college football today, hey, Kim, if I'm making $14 million a year, why do I give a shit what the NFL thinks? Why would I prepare you for the NFL? How is that in my best interest? My best interest is to win games my way. You want to do something with the kid when you get him? Have at it. Okay? Have at it. I mean, the salaries, Kim, the salaries in college football with the coaches is what's changed that dynamic and gotten them further away. Okay? I mean, think about that. And once again, we'll say it again to you. In the last 5 years, as a unit, okay, 29th in passing, and then we're going to move on to the NFC East. One last time, and this is why you're changing, okay? And this is why Okay. 2021, the Eagles were 25th in passing. 22, they had a really good year in 22 when he was RPO. They were 9th. And 23, these are very simple. Massive turnovers. They were 16th. 24, they are, as a unit, 29th. And last year, Jalen Hurts led passing offense was 23rd. In 5 years, the Philadelphia Eagles as a passing offense, 25th, 9th, 16th, 29th, 23rd. And this is with and why you're changing all this out now, is because the passing game, especially the last 2 years, actually the last 3 years. Think about this. The last 3 years in the NFL, 16th, 29th, and 23rd. You're not going anywhere with that. And if it wasn't, get this, you had the worst passing offense in pro football the Super Bowl year. Oh, I know. Because you had a guy rush for the most yards in NFL history. That tells you all you need to know. That tells you all you need to know. In Hurts' last 31 games, he's averaged under 200 yards. I know there were rumors that Jalen told coaches he doesn't want to run anymore. If that's true, he just torpedoed his career. You're a bottom-tier passer without your legs. Yeah. He is a bottom-tier passer. The offense tells you that. Can't get around it. That's why they've made all these drastic moves. Isn't it funny how people are denying that? That's not why they've done it. You're 16th, 29th, and 23rd. And when you had to have your passing game step up for you, it couldn't because the quarterback couldn't. Do you find that not to be true? Meanwhile, Dak, your favorite quarterback in the division, struggling to make the playoffs and can't win a playoff game. And yet they want him to play more like Dak. Isn't that funny, James? They want him to play more like Dak now from the pocket. Hell, you had an explosive offense and couldn't score. Jalen Hurts is a running quarterback. That is all he doesn't run. He is a bottom of the league. How about this, too? Earning. Think about this. I agree with Joe Krause 100% on this. I wouldn't change a thing. I would have done everything in my power to keep A.J. Brown in the building. I would have done everything. But let me again, the passing game has been the worst in Eagle history the last 3 years. No one gets the point. You're right. You go right ahead, Kim. Now, she's a Jalen Hurts fan, and she said the grass isn't greener on the other side. How do you know this is going to work? Because the guy doesn't have that skill set for that. It's like asking Joe Burrow to turn around and be a running quarterback. You think Joe Burrow's a running quarterback, Kim? This isn't Hurts' fault. That's what me and Joe have been saying. You should have stuck with what you're doing. Let the wheels fall off. Ride them until that thing breaks. Absolutely. Like a 3-year-old thoroughbred. Run that bitch, man. Absolutely. To change this up now and to have the kid do something he's never done, you bet they want him to play like Dak. They want him to spread the ball around, dude. They moved up 3 spots to go get a wide receiver and add 4 more And they lose AJ. Dude, man. I'll tell you one more time. It's the denial that you're having problems with. And by the way, you know what's going to be sad at the end of this? I'm going to be so freaking right. It's going to be sad to see the demise of Hurts because of what they're asking him to do. They're asking this guy to do shit he's never done. Why? Listen, if I know the roadmap and I have the treasure map and I know how to find the treasure, why are you giving me a map that's more convoluted and more difficult to accomplish? Why are you doing that? Guys, I'm not debating. I'm not really. What did the Hurts lit offense rank in 3 and outs? Let's take a look at that last 2 years. That's a great one too. In 2020, let's see. In 2025, let's see. In 2025, what did the Eagle offense rank in 3 and outs? Eagles offense rank in 3 and outs. The Philadelphia Eagles offense led the National Football League with a league high 38% 3 and outs. They were the worst team in pro football in 3 and outs in 2025. Again, you're going to have a great rate in that with the run game because of what you did, not the passing game. The passing game was the worst in 2024. 2023, what did they rank then? The Philadelphia Eagles ranked, get this, 30th in 3 and outs in 2023. So over the last 3 years, outside of an iconic running game in 24, you were 32nd and 30th in 3 and outs. The 24 season is because Barkley ran for 2,000 yards. Why would you change it? I don't know. Dude, I don't know why they're changing it. And to some people's comments in here, you know what the bottom line is? Your benchmark and your low floor is 11 wins. Get this. You can't erase the 24 season. You didn't do shit in the passing game. You were 29th. And if it wasn't for an iconic run game, you would have been low then too. Bro, if you don't have Barkley running the ball, you can't win. You're not going to throw the ball winning. Holy shit. And a quarterback. Okay? Let's see here. You let Barkley and Jalen run. They, get this, they had over 3,500 rushing yards in the 2 years of the Super Bowl. It was a running attack. No shit. Was it the pass game? Hey, Sills, you're telling us how bad I'm not telling you how bad the offense is. The Eagles are telling you how bad the offense is by all the schematic changes. You're making it seem that what I'm saying is not happening. It's totally happening. You got rid of AJ. You are going away from what you were successful at, and you're implementing something all different. Get this. This is what this guy's saying to me. Hey, Sills, you're telling us how bad the offense was the last couple of years, then asking Why are they changing the offense? That's no. The passing game has not been good enough. Jalen Hurts has to run the ball with Barkley. The success of your football team is in the run game. It's not in the passing game. The numbers dictate that. You don't want to hear it. In 5 years, how about this question? Let's go here. James, in 5 years, do you think the Eagles have been a passing attack, or have they won their games based off the run game? When the unit is one of the worst in 3 and outs. How about this? You were the worst football team last year in 3 and outs. You know what you look like? A ballerina. You know what that is? 1, 2, 3, kick. 1, 2, 3, kick. 1, 2, 3, kick. Barkley should have been the MVP if not for the tush push. That's why Barkley, get this, Coyote. That's why Barkley did in his contract when he signed with the Eagles. Barkley does, here, I'll read it to you. Does Saquon Barkley doesn't have a touchdown total in his contract because he knows the tush push. Saquon Barkley has exactly $0 in touchdown-based incentives in his current contract with the Eagles. Why is that? Because of the tush push. Correct. Most running backs, and get this, Derrick Henry has a $750 million incentive for rushing touchdowns over 10 and then $1 million when he makes over 15. 0. So the entire offense was based on what? The quarterback rushing and tush push and rushing. Was it based on running the ball, throwing the ball? Where are the Eagle fans in denial? It took a shot on Purdy and the Lions falling apart, or they would have been to neither Super Bowls. I'd like to have seen what Purdy could have done in that game. The Eagles had 274 yards in total offense in that game. They held the Eagles in that NFC title game under 300 yards. That Eagle offense didn't really do all that much. It was the turnovers on the defense that was created. The defense was spectacular that year in 22 in that NFC title game. They were spectacular. They destroyed quarterbacks. Reddick was a machine. It was a great performance. My thing is, Jalen went against stacked boxes all year long in 24 and still was ranked 29th. That tells you everything you need to know about Hurts' ability to throw the ball. Amen. All right. So we're going to get our friend Jason Cole on here. I'm hoping soon. Let me see. Hopefully we didn't get a text message here. Let's see here. So maybe we can ping him there. Hopefully Jason joins us here and we can talk with our friend. By the way, Jason and I had a great conversation prior to like the show the other day when we were talking about Brandon Sorsby. Okay, let's see here. Okay. Sills, was it Barkley's breakaway speed or the offensive line that propelled the Eagles to the Super Bowl? Both. That D was no joke either. He'll He'll be coming around here. Hold on here. You can join anytime. Join any time. Our Hall of Fame voter. See if we can get him up here. That's a great question. It was the push of the O-line. Remember we had Brian Westbrook on, and he goes like this. It was just a great push that offensive line had. They were spectacular. That year that the Eagles had with their offensive line was as good as I've ever seen. Now, are they the greatest O-line of all time? No. It's that Cowboy O-line. You know why? That Cowboy O-line did it longer. And plus, the Cowboys had the greatest guard in the history of the league. I'll say it again to you guys. The greatest guard in the history of the league is Larry Allen. And Larry Allen being part of that Cowboy offensive line was spectacular. Okay? Here, is Cole a Hall of Fame voter? Been a Hall of Fame voter for a long time. I like to know what he thinks of Hurts. We'll do that. But I got to tell you, I never thought that back in the day when I was put into the supplemental draft that I don't ever remember applying for it. The league put me in it. And you know why the league put me in it? There's one difference. And I'm going to get Jason Cole up here, and we're going to talk to him now. Let's bring in Jason Cole. Jace, the difference was with me and with Brandon Sorsby? I got a contract by the Bucs because I thought I was a free agent because I had missed the 1987 draft. We believed I was, and that the Bucs and Rich McKay and everybody got ahead of everybody. Roselle went like this.
No.
He went like this. No. And I went into his office.
No.
Wait a second. I went into his office and said, I'm a free agent, dude. And I was fighting. And at the time, as you know, there's no free agency. And I go, I'm a free agent. He goes, we don't have free agents in the NFL. I go, well, I'm a free agent. I'm not part of the NFL.
What year was this?
Wait. 1987.
Yeah, I've been saying you're like 5 years ahead of your time.
Right. Well, get this. I even posted the thing and I said this. And by the way, Tom McEwen, the great legendary writer, he said this. Sileo strikes at NFL the name of free agency. The NFL Players Association is watching the case of Dan Sileo. I sued the league, but it's not touching it. It's too hot and it's too bad. This case puts a fresh perspective on free agency issues and had pressed the union and pressing the union. Sileo's fighting for free agency. You know what he did? He went like this. Nah, we're putting you in a supplemental draft. And I went, and they're going to give you a $1.7 million deal. They're going to give you Jerome's deal. I wish kind of I had fought it. I was fighting free agency. But
yeah, I mean, it's like what Freeman McNeil at the time, and Reggie was coming up pretty soon after that. I mean, you were on the right side of history, but you do have to go through the draft.
And I wasn't Reggie White. Reggie White's going to get that. I'm Dan Sileo. He's Reggie White.
Right. Yeah, I mean, but the thing they were going to make you wait for years to win your case, and your career probably would have been gone by then. So you had to do what they told you to do. You're on the right side of history, but in the moment in time, and this is why I shake my head and I laugh. Like they ain't doing that for you. Like no. You're right, son. We're totally in the wrong. We're going to allow you to be a free agent so that hundreds of kids coming behind you can then become free agents as well. And now we've just subverted the entire draft. They're not going to do that. It's just not going to happen.
She called me a maverick doing
that.
Yeah,
well, you were. I mean, again, you're on the right side of history. You just didn't have the leverage that had to be created over time. Look, I'm one of these people who's like, I wish there wasn't a draft. Like, I would love to see how teams like now. Does there need to be a compensation pool so that like the rookie cap works within that, and there's an amount of money assigned based on the number of picks and how high those picks are. I would love to see that. Now, I think in some ways, if like it was a bidding contest, it would sort of look like a latter-day version of slavery and might be a little ugly that way.
Yes, it would.
Yeah, you're right. It would look like that, and you don't want that either. But I think it would give teams the right to negotiate with players the way they want to negotiate players. And let's see who the best is at picking players, because nobody's going to swallow up all the quarterbacks. Like, that's always the fear. People are like, oh, the Cowboys are going to sign everybody. It's like, you can't, if you have a cap on the amount of money you can spend on your rookies, you have to do it judiciously. And so, but the NFL loves the pomp and the circumstance of the draft. They like they like 70 to 100 to 150 or 200,000 people gathering around someplace watching people walk on stage. Like, they enjoy that. It's a big commercial event for the NFL. So they're never going to get rid of it. But I'm one of these people who are like, do away with it. Let's see what happens. Do away with it in all sports. Let's see who is the most clever, and let's really see who's the best at picking players and assigning value to them.
Is Brandon Sorsby being suspended for a year by the league with this? Do you think, because next year he's going to have wait now. He'll be eligible to be signed as a free agent after the 27 draft. If he doesn't get picked,
he ain't getting picked.
Wait, there's your face again. So you don't think he's ever playing?
Not for 2 or 3 years minimum.
2 or 3 years, it's over.
Go play in the minor. Do what Kurt Warner did. That's what you got to do. I'm sorry. You're like, no. The answer is no. Yeah, like, you can't gamble and participate in your sport. Sorry.
You and I thought they would void. You and I thought they would void that supplemental thing, man.
Well, I didn't know how they were going to do it, and they found a clever way around it. But I knew that he wasn't going to play. I've been saying that for over a month.
But they're wrong.
Ever since this idea of him going into the supplemental draft, even the idea of him playing in college is just a no-go.
But the NFL's wrong in their statement. I'll tell you why.
It's not about the legality of what they're doing. It is about what is good for the sport, what is ethical for the sport, what protects the sport, and ultimately, hey, dude, let me just tell you this. You know this is true. You put that kid in the locker room and he throws 3 interceptions, he's getting his ass beat. You and I both know this. You know I'm right. You know I am right. He goes into a locker room. He throws, even if he is on the total up and up, everything is fine. He throws 3 interceptions in a game. Everybody distrusts him. The fans, the coaches, and most of all his teammates. They won't block for him. They'll probably, he will be a persona non grata in any locker room. Okay, if he comes in, he tries to play this year. So I'm not telling you, this is not a legal argument. This is not a, who's right, who's wrong, who wins in court. This is about how you handle your sport on the field and how you sell your sport as legitimate. And I talked to a GM yesterday about this, and he said, we can't have this guy in our league.
So you're blackballing him.
What?
You're blackballing.
Right now, yeah.
Okay.
I don't like, look, I understand what you're saying legally, but I also understand people have to trust the game or nobody's going to watch. So you have to protect, and I'm not talking, when I say integrity of the game, look, there's a lot of guys with integrity problems playing in the NFL. There's a lot of guys with integrity problems coaching in the NFL. There's a lot of guys with integrity problems owning NFL teams. Okay. So this is not to say that everybody is on the up and up and everybody's completely ethical, but you can't have gambling that makes the audience not believe what they're watching and believe that there are people that are gambling against it. This is why horse racing died in this country. Nobody trusted it anymore. Even the people who gambled on the sport.
Do you think they would do this if that was Arch Manning?
Would they not hold the supplement?
Would they blackball him?
No, they wouldn't blackball Arch Manning. He can come out and play.
No. What I'm saying is, if he was in the same situation.
Oh, is he gambling? Oh, yeah. He's out. They don't give a damn. They don't give. This is about gambling. This is serious. Like, this is what Calvin Ridley had to sit out a year for participating, in a gamble. This is why Isaiah Rodgers had to sit out
6 bets. This guy had $9,000.
Right. Like, let's just talk about the proportion. Like, on top of that, it's like, you are a degenerate gambler, young man. You spent more time gambling than you did any time cracking a book. And I'm not saying he had to be a Rhodes Scholar or anything. Don't get this wrong. But 9,000 bets? How much time does that take? and look, I talked to his agent. I traded some texts with his agent. The NCAA cleared him of any improper play, but that doesn't mean anything. This is a PR thing. People have to understand this is about what is legitimate and what's not. And if people don't trust that the game is legitimate, they won't watch. So this kid has to go and he has to pay his dues. Now, well, does that mean forever and ever? Again, the GM I talked about, he was like, I don't know if I could ever touch this kid. And I'm like, look, man, in 2 or 3 years, if he's clean and he's proved himself and he's paid his penance, you can come back and play. You can't. I think that there is a road for this kid. He has to understand that, and he has to go shut his mouth and be a good citizen. Go play in Canada, go play minor league ball, do whatever you got to do, but you're out for right now.
Jason, I'm going to go down this lane one more time because some new information has come out here on this here, and I want to get your take. So I was reading that New York Times article on Diana Rossini.
Mm-hmm.
She's calling head football coaches, and it wasn't so much named Vrabel. She's calling head coaches to get her out of traffic tickets. And before I go any further here with that, my point is this. I don't know if I've ever called anybody to try to get me out of a traffic ticket on anything or a traffic stop. And by the way, you're getting a FaceTime with a coach. To me, this goes down about ethics too, going like this. So you use your political or your position and your comfort with these NFL head coaches and potentially GMs to do those kind of things like that when – how are you getting your story? What other things are you doing unethical to get your story?
I think we all know we know the answer to these things. And it's unfortunate because she's cost herself her career. Right? And it's all tawdry.
A very lucrative one too, by the way.
Well, $800,000, for that job, for what they ask her to do, that's actually compare that to what I know what Adam Schefter's making and people like
12.
That. It's a good chunk.
And she lives in New York, so I get it.
Right. Look, people make a big deal out of $800,000 for a person in that position. $800,000 is about what that job is worth. Okay. It just is. Okay. And I know people don't really understand that, but that's okay. Okay. That's the going rate to pay somebody who is. Yeah, it's a newspaper job, but it's also a podcasting job, and it's a TV job, and it's a 24/7 job, as well. So, that's not that much money for what that is.
Okay,
but it's a lot in the grand scheme of the world. Yes, and did she use her powers inappropriately? Yes. Do I blame the coaches? Not really. Not really. They didn't know calls about, and when if they answer the phone, what are they supposed to say? I don't know, Diane. What are you supposed to do? You're all of a sudden you're on the spot. Now, does it indicate that there's a deeper relationship? If I tried to call certain coaches, they would probably say to a cop, put him in jail. That's right. Let's be real. That's what most guys think of me.
If I called, they'd hang up.
They won't answer. They don't even hang up. You don't even you get the it's Sileo. Oh god.
Yeah. You turn the phone over upside down.
Yeah. Right. That's no way. But people use their power in different ways, and you find out ugly truth about people, and it's unfortunate. Because look, I met Diane once in my life. I talked to her for about 30 seconds. She seemed like a really pleasant person.
Is she a Hall of Fame voter?
No, she's not.
Okay.
She was a MVP voter.
MVP voter.
And there's a bunch of garbage about Coach of the Year MVP. There's some hullabaloo about that. I don't think it's that big a deal, because she's one of 50 or 70 or whatever it is, right? I just like this is all a bad story, and it's a bad story the same way that I was thinking about this, all other fraudulent journalists like Stephen Glass, who worked for the Atlantic, I think it was the Atlantic, and Jason Blair worked for the New York Times, and Janet Cook, who worked for the Washington Post. I mean, these are all bad things. It's bad for journalism. It's bad for ethics. It's bad for trust. It's bad for other women journalists. It's bad for journalists, period. It's especially bad for Diana. It's bad for coaches. And it's just like, look, your job is to go out and get stories and report on stories. Taking the relationship beyond that, no, just no, it's not supposed to happen. I don't know what else to say about it other than, she lost her job because of it, and she deserved to lose her job because of it. I don't have any sympathy for Diana Rossini. I don't hate her, but I don't have any sympathy for her because she broke the rules. So, and that's just the way it is. And, we move on from it. Do I think that there's more to this, that some people are like,
oh, yeah.
Oh, insider, is there gambling and insider this and insider that?
But I think they're after Vrabel.
There are other details.
Yeah,
there are other details. Yeah. There are other details. And yes, are there other reporters who have done things like this? Yes. There are men reporters out there who I'm not talking about sleeping with coaches, but I'm talking about there are male reporters who have relationships with coaches that are far too buddy for what I'm comfortable with as a journalist. All right. But that's their job. That's how they do their job. It's how their place allows them to do their job. And so I don't cast a lot of stones, and I'm trying not to cast a lot of stones at Diana, because I think the problem is taking care of itself. She lost her job. She lost her career. She lost something that she worked very hard to develop over years and years and years. She paid the price. It's the right price. I don't think she can ever come back and be a sports reporter again.
You know what, dude?
Let alone journalist.
Let me tell you something, dude. You are one of the greatest people on things that end up happening. And the reason why I love you and how you talk about things and how you know things. Here, after I buttered you up there. So Jaylen Carter's contract. Okay. So Jeffrey Simmons gets $35 million.
Yeah. And
Jaylen Carter's contract, I was told this past offseason in 26. Oh, they're waiting for this. We're going to give him a big-time deal. And here we sit again. And guess what? The Eagles are pausing. Howie doesn't let the market get ahead of him. Howie's not giving this guy a contract until he sees what this guy does in 26.
Until Mama gets out of the way too.
Do you think this is a character-related thing with the Eagles?
It's obvious it's a character-related thing. It's been a character-related thing with this kid forever. Go back to Georgia. I ran into another guy who coached that kid at Georgia the other night. I know two of the assistant coaches from the Georgia team. And I said, and he was just laughing. He's just like, yeah, Jalen's always been a problem. And then I said, and the mom, he goes, I don't know what her name is, but, Sandra or something like that. Oh, yeah, Miss Sandy or whatever her name is, right? She was always around. She was a problem. So she babied him, and made excuses for him. It's like, it's time for her to get out of the way and let him be coached by men, and be handled by men, and be talked to that way. She capes for him all the time. So all this stuff has to, I don't trust this kid. I mean, again, let's come back to how do you spit on an opponent on the first play of the game? You played. Who's that angry on play number one? Who's that angry on play number one?
I got my mouthpiece in, dude. I'm worried about the next play.
I've got some adrenaline going, maybe, but I'm not, like spitting on a dude. Like you're just not. It's the first play of a game to open the season, and you're thinking that like this is a good idea. Like any thought that goes through your head is I'm going to spit on an opponent. Like you're an idiot. So you can't be trusted. Again, this is why, like, don't have Fletcher Cox or Jason Kelsey in your locker room to tell knuckleheads to, cut it out. They're going to be the knuckleheads. A.J. Brown was a knucklehead, with his relationship with Jalen Hurts. He put himself ahead of what was good for the team, okay? Jaylen Carter put himself ahead of what's good by spitting on some dude. Jalen Hurts has put himself in a lot of ways ahead of the team by not trying to find a way to bring A.J. Brown in and make him feel like we're a unit, okay?
Do you blame Jalen Hurts for the breakup relationship like McNabb and T.O.? Do you think that's Hurts' responsibility?
No, it's not as bitter. It's not as. I don't think Jalen played into it the same way that Donovan played into it. At the same time, I don't think that AJ is quite as big a jackass as T.O. was. Like, I mean, like there's some guys there are some selfish guys in the history of this league. T.O.'s right there with everyone. Okay, I mean he's at the top of every list of selfish. Now, a talented player, great player, productive player, don't get me wrong, Hall of Famer, deservedly so. Selfish guy? Oh, absolutely. He's at the top of your list of selfish guys. And creator of havoc, too. Like, he created havoc with every quarterback he played with except for Steve Young. Because Steve Young knew how to deal with T.O. He knew how to bring him in. And that's the job of the quarterback. And this is, part of the failing of Jalen Hurts is find a way to get that guy to bring him in. Do whatever you have to do because you need that dude to play the position that he plays and do it the right way. So, like this is a failing on a lot of different people. It's mostly AJ. It's mostly AJ being too selfish for the greater good. Like go win championships. Go play your butt off and win some championships for this team. Now, to get back to the question about Jaylen Carter in the Hall of Fame, no, he's not a Hall of Famer yet. Does he have a chance? Sure, he has a chance. He's in.
You mean Hurts? You mean Hurts?
Yeah, Hurts. I'm sorry, Jalen Hurts. Yeah. You're talking about Jalen Hurts. He's got a chance. Is he there yet? No, he's not. He's not there yet. But like he's played great in 2 Super Bowls. That goes a long way. And is he a great quarterback? No. Was Russell Wilson a great quarterback? No, not really. In terms of reading the field and doing all the things that you talk about. No, but is Russell Wilson probably going to make the Hall of Fame someday? Probably. Not the first time in, but he's probably going to make it.
When I look at a guy like Matt Ryan and I look at 62,000 yards and I look at a guy who's a former MVP and I see the skill set, I looked up his numbers. I couldn't believe 350 touchdown passes and 62,000 yards and all those years of great football. 10 years, he was over 4,200 passing yards. I mean, I didn't really think he was that guy, but he is that guy. When I look at
You're talking about Matt Ryan or are you talking about Russell Wilson?
Matt Ryan. I'm talking about Matt Ryan.
He has some great numbers. Phillip Rivers has some great numbers in there.
I think Rivers is a Hall of Famer.
I think he probably is too, but it's going to take a while. And, and Matt Ryan, I don't see Hall of Fame. I didn't see enough. I like the guy. I like the skill set. I think he won a lot of games and did a lot of productive things. Hall of Famer. He's more like Kenny Anderson. So he's a step below that, what we're talking about. And the numbers are all a blur at this point in time because the numbers aren't relevant to what they were. The game's just not the same. So when people talk about this guy had 50,000, 60,000, 70,000 yards passing, yeah, those are staggering looking numbers. But the game of the last 30 years is built for throwing.
See, Jason, a couple last ones here for you, brother. So here's Jalen Hurts the last 5 years as a passer in the league. 25th, 9th, 16th, 29th, and 23. And in the Super Bowl year, 1 year when he was 9th, that was a great year in 22 when he was runner-up to the MVP. 29 when he was carried by that Barkley team, when Barkley went for 2,700 rushing yards that year, counting the postseason.
Yeah.
Counting the postseason. I mean, they had a 29th ranked passing game. When I look at Jalen Hurts as a passer, I mean, just because you're on a good football team, Jim Plunkett is more accomplished than him.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Jim Plunkett was a better quarterback probably than in terms of doing pro style offense and doing and actually playing the position. But I'm not saying he's a Hall of Famer yet. I'm saying I'm saying he's in the discussion. Like, will he get there? He's got a shot. And look, stats are important. Don't get me wrong. The stats are not everything when it comes to making the Hall of Fame. It's a combination. Do you win? Do you do famous things? If it was about stats, Joe Willie Namath ain't ever making the Hall of Fame.
I looked at those numbers the other day. They're terrible.
Right. And part of it is the era in which he played. Okay. And people don't adjust for that. Like, people look at Johnny Unitas' numbers and they probably go, well, who is he? Well, if you put his numbers in perspective of the time he played, he's Babe Ruth of quarterbacks.
Listen to this. In 1976, the average completion percentage for quarterbacks was 55%. And today it's 67%. To show you how different it is, the league.
Right. Someday do that for quarterback rating. Check the average quarterback rating in 1976 versus 50 years later. It's staggering how different quarterback rating is, and people look at, they go, oh, look at Elway's quarterback rating from when he played. It's like, yeah, but look at what the league was. Look at what everything else was. Look at the offense that people play in. Look at it. So all I say is, it's a really complicated nexus of discussion points and arguments about who gets into the Hall of Fame or who doesn't get into the Hall of Fame. And not everybody views it the same way. Like, we're not computers spitting out, taking all the numbers and spitting it out. We're doing it based on what did we see, what did we focus on. But I will say this for Jalen Hurts, in the positive comments for him, his performances in big games are spectacular. His 2 Super Bowls are spectacular. That's, you got to give a guy a lot of credit for that. Like, that's, kudos to him. It's like Eli Manning. Do I think Eli Manning's a Hall of Famer? Ask me what day of the week it is. I'm not sure. Okay. Depends on the day. It depends on the day. I flip-flop back and forth on whether Eli's ever going to make the Hall of Fame. But his 2 Super Bowls, like, those are moments, man. Those are moments that define the NFL. You took down an undefeated team. You threw 2 of the most glorious passes in Super Bowl history. Those are up there with, Roethlisberger's throw for the touchdown against Arizona. It's up there with Bradshaw's throws to Lynn Swann and to Stallworth. It's up to the best of whatever Kurt Warner did, in his side. Like, those are moments that are fame. Okay, where people become famous, and this is the Hall of Fame. What did you do to change, to influence and impact the game? And that is a strong argument on Eli's part, and to an extent, it's a strong argument for Jalen Hurts. So there's a world in which Jalen Hurts can make the Hall of Fame. Is he the prettiest quarterback of all time? No, he's not. Is he the greatest thrower of the football of all time? No, he's not. Do his statistics match up with a typical Hall of Fame quarterback? No, they don't. But the system in which he plays with wins a lot of games, and he's a big part of that.
Last one here for you. What in God's name are you going to do with Terron Arnold if you're the Detroit Lions right now? I mean, so let me get this right. You hired 2 to kidnap somebody and beat the shit out of them? Like, I mean, Jason,
you know what I'm doing right now?
I heard the wildest things in my life. This is wild.
This is, like a couple of steps short of Ray Caruth, right?
Yeah,
start to think about
right. That's right. That was terrible.
Right. Like now, nobody died, thankfully.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
But kidnapping and assault, I'll tell you this right now, if I'm the general manager, if I'm Brad, what is it? Yeah, if I'm Brad Holmes and I'm Dan Campbell, it's like, how many games are we going to be without him? Is it going to be the whole season or not? I'm making plans that he's not going to play.
No way.
Right. Are
you making plans that he's not going to play forever?
Don't know. There's a lot of information to come out on this one, my man. But your initial thought is kidnapping.
I've never heard of this.
Kidnapping, and then beating him up. Kidnapping. Just like you just stop. You go.
I'm not laughing at the situation.
I know.
Listen, I'm laughing at the kid's decision making that you think that was normal.
Right. It's not funny. It's dark. It's dark humor.
It's pathetic.
Right. It's like it's just so crazy on face value. It's so nuts that all you can do, depending on how you look at the world, and I look at the world in sort of things just stun me and make me laugh. It stuns me. I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because it's like, how did we get to here? What, like, here's one of my favorite stories, right? And I always love this one. When I read Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's biography, and he talked about how when he was in high school, he took the train down to Philadelphia because he wanted to find Wilt Chamberlain's girlfriend and he wanted to sleep with Wilt's woman because he believed that if he slept with Wilt's woman, like that he would take some of Wilt's manhood from Wilt, right? And you're a teenage kid and it's like, okay, whatever. But you're like, where in the recesses of your brain did you think that was going to, like, where does that thought come from? So when we're talking about this kid, Terron Arnold, it's like, where in the world did you think that kidnapping was a proper response to anything? Anything. Now, like with Michael Vick, we talk about Michael Vick when he did the dogfighting, which is a terrible, terrible story. You know what? If you know Michael Vick's upbringing, where he's from, the dogfighting was considered acceptable, that people did it on a regular basis. Like, I understand that. I don't agree with it. It's still heinous. It's awful, all those things. But he grew up in a culture where that was accepted. In what culture was Terron Arnold in that they thought that kidnapping was acceptable? How did you come to this conclusion? Like, were you just watching like too many movies? I would like
to have known what his interview process was like and the questions they asked him at the combines. Because
nobody asked, do you think that kidnapping is a good idea?
No, but decision making things like that. Like, listen, Chase, I know people that like are from Mexico and believe like bullfighting is part of culture there, or cockfighting.
I've been to bullfight. I've been to a bullfight. Yeah.
Or cockfighting is like, yeah, I was raised around it, and it's illegal now. The pitcher for the Dodgers was like this. I was raised around that in Puerto Rico. Oh, it's illegal now. Oh, I was raised around it as a kid. And some people in America would go, "That's terrible." But again, I'm with you.
It's his culture.
That's how the kid was raised. I'm not justifying it either.
No, I'm not justifying it, but you understand. It's like, okay, where did this come from? But when you talk about like, in what culture is kidnapping okay? Like, there's none. There's none. Like, cockfighting, dogfighting, bullfighting, sports that we sometimes can either consider sadistic or whatever, they're legal in a lot of countries. Again, I've been to a bullfight. I was a pretty low level bullfighting, right? But I've been to a bullfight, and it is, it's prime. it's medieval kind of stuff, man.
It is.
And the reaction to it is amazing. It's amazing. Like you get a feel for it. Like this is dramatic, passionate kind of stuff. I mean, it's machismo, man. Like when a guy is on his knees waving the red cape, and there's a 3,000-pound or whatever it is animal running at you at full speed, and you're just like it's like that dude has some big stones, man. That dude has some big stones to be that brave. But that's their sport, right? And it's bloody and gory, and people would consider it awful because of what happens to the animal, right? Understood. Some people think that that's awful. I get it. I totally understand it. I've witnessed it. I've seen it.
Some people think hunting.
But right, whatever. And there are all sorts of different opinions, right? But I will just tell you, in no culture do you think that kidnapping is there's none. There's none. That's a crime everywhere.
So at the end of the day, Chase, you do this. You know what? Hey, instead of calling like a private investigator, why don't we kidnap him and beat the shit out of him? That's a good idea. I mean, dude, how'd you go from that to that?
What is going again? It's like you just look and you're like, what's going on in your head? What is happening in your brain that you think that this is okay? And that's why I say, if I'm Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes right today, it's like, all right, write him off. We got a hold of Phil. Right? Like, that's what it is. And if somehow, some way he escapes from this, no pun intended, about kidnapping and escape, then it certainly didn't mean that. But if he gets out from underneath this somehow, some way, then you're playing on house money. But I just would. And I wouldn't even try and defend the kid. Like, I don't want to get wrapped up in, like, he can go hire his own defense attorney. The only position we're taking is that kidnapping is a crime, and we will see what the courts have to say. That's it. Stay out of this one.
Make sure you guys, if you're in the Central Florida area there, by the way, he gets Eagle fans into the building there.
Sarah from Philadelphia.
Sarah from Philadelphia, the Bagel Bakery there, 4113 Northwest 16th Boulevard in Gainesville, Florida, 32605. Make sure you get up there and go up there and say hi to Jason. He gets Eagle fans, as I said, in the area there. My friend, it is always great to talk to you.
And if you come in your paraphernalia, your Harold Carmichael regalia, or your Jalen Hurts, I'll even say fly, Eagles fly. There you go.
Now, can I wear my Canes gear up there?
Well, you got a bigger issue with that with the people of Gainesville. Okay, that has nothing to do with you. Hey man, I'm a Stanford grad. I care about Stanford and the UF people. They run the town. I get that. They run the show. But if you wear your Canes stuff, you're welcome. For me, you're welcome.
Well,
FSU is welcome.
They wouldn't really know in Gainesville right now with that football program about winning. So if they saw my Canes uniform, they'd be like, wow, what does it feel to be a champion? I'd be like, all right, it's all good. I got it. I didn't mean to do that, but you know me. Jace, I love you. I appreciate you, man. I'll see you soon, man. Thank you, dude. That is Jason Cole. That is my friend. Absolutely. Make sure you check him out too, man. All right. You know what? I'm going to pay some bills because I didn't do it yesterday and I'm behind. Jason's awesome. Jason is awesome. All right. My great friends at Morgan & Morgan, the number one injury law firm in all of America, for a reason. It is because they win with over $30 billion recovered. Morgan & Morgan, there is no firm like it. Told you about the family here in Pennsylvania. Initially offered $650K. They got, in return, nearly $30 million in settlement. Or the family down in Florida that was initially offered $350,000. They got nearly $12 million in settlement. Do me a favor, guys. Go to forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. That's forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. And do me a favor. You tell them Big Sale sent you.
Yeah! There's a reason the Karate Master was the #1 salesman in the lumber department.
Karate.
Just like there's a reason Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. Injured? With over $25 billion recovered for our clients, there's a reason to go big. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily, only at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia's Center Bar. 7 days a week, enjoy some of the region's top party bands, performers, and DJs as they take the stage in the heart of the casino action. Great cocktails, live music, and lively moments. It's all happening at Center Bar at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit livecasinophilly.com for more details and the complete list of upcoming events. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Shot Takers and the Tastemakers. Welcome to the Viewfinders, the Thrill Seekers, and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We go the extra mile to lend a helping hand.
Thank you.
We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong. We've been deeply rooted in our communities for more than 85 years. And that connection to members has earned us our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. So while you look out for your neighbors, know IBX is always looking out for you.
Your gut says Miami is going to win and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Love Jason Cole. Love my friend Jason Cole. Absolutely, man. Hall of Fame voter. So he says your boy still has a shot at the Hall of Fame. I think that's a little change in direction for him a little bit, but all good. Let's see if we forgot any super chats here. Guys, hit the like button. We appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. 34 days. We're going to look at the NFC East here in a minute too, with some of the teams here that the Eagles are going to play. Obviously, I think there's going to be an upgrade, I think, in the NFC East this year. So I think there's going to be an upgrade. And yes, and by the way, he's been saying Jaylen Carter has had issues. And there is a difference of an opinion. You hear John and Joe talking that they don't think it's character related. There's some people that think there is, that there's some character issues. Okay? And there are people who think that about the kid. From what I hear about him, I hear he's an engaging guy. I know some of the coaches at Georgia. I think there's decision making. And he said family too. His family is, I don't know an issue, Yale. And I'm not going to comment on something I don't know. Okay? I'm not going to comment on, like, I hadn't heard that about his mom being a problem or his mom being an issue. So I'm not going to go down that lane and say that. So if I heard that, then I would say something, but I hadn't. I guess Jalen won those games. He didn't complete a pass in the second half, twice. Let's see here. When stats don't align with morons' perceived view of a player's they're simping for, they attribute team accomplishments to the player in typical crayon-eating fashion. Once again, funny, isn't that crazy? That take right there, Rasputin saying, well, what the hell is a guy like Jeffrey Simmons? How is he making $35 million then on a shitty team? Is it because of winning? Or is it because the guy's a great player? Let's take a look at Jeffrey Simmons and what he's done and how he deserved that $35 million. The Titans last a year by year record. The Tennessee Titans, man who just signed the richest contract for a defensive tackle in pro football history. Here's what the Titans have done. According to him, team accomplishments. Let's see. They've won a total of 19 games in the last 4 seasons. They've won 19 ball games. To Rasputin's take, how did Jeffrey Simmons get $36 million a year, $35 million a year? Team only won 19 games. How did he get that $35 million? Was it because the team was good? Because he's good. It's because of his accomplishments and how he plays the position. Had nothing to do with team accomplishments. Or how did the guy make that money? How did the guy make that money? Wait a second. Player production on a 19-win team? How did that guy become the highest paid defensive tackle with the worst record in pro football over the last 4 years? Got nothing to do with team accomplishments. Got nothing to do with team. Had everything to do with the kid's ability. Nobody was looking at the team failures is the point. Get this. Okay? Yale. Nobody's looking at team accomplishments. My point is in failure, in paying him. The team knows he's great. You either know the guy. Same thing too. Myles Garrett ability. It's got nothing to do with team accomplishments. Simmons is a great player. Correct. Nothing to do with team accomplishments. Zero. So when you start adding team accomplishments into conversations, they have nothing to do with the player's ability. Zero. And how good he is. Especially when you're in Ken Bone. There's a super there. We'll get to it. Let me go back here. Has nothing to do with it. And when you're talking about the best players in the game, look who's considered the best wide receiver in football. Jamar Chase is considered the best wide receiver in football. Why is he considered the best wide receiver in football? Why is Jamar Chase considered the best football player at that position at wideout? Has nothing to do with wins. Has nothing to do with wins. If Carter signs a new deal, would it kick in after the Ricky deal or immediately because after Hurts is gone, it could work? They'll probably, with that 5th-year, it would kick in after the 5th-year option they picked up. That's what it would be, Ken. Appreciate it. I don't think you guys really get how teams evaluate players. Hey, and by the way, so get this. Here's the rankings for the best wide receivers in pro football. And this will go down to what you guys talk about every time you put the team accomplishments around Jalen Hurts. Here, best wide receivers in pro football. 2026. Rank. go here. How about this? I got a better one. Let's do salaries. Best salaries. Highest paid wide receivers. Paid wide receivers in pro football in 26. Here are the highest paid wideouts. Okay. Highest paid wide receivers in pro football. Okay. JSN, Super Bowl winner. There's one. Jamar Chase has been to one, but the Bengals have been a losing franchise the last 3-4 years. Drake London. I don't think Drake London, has he been to the playoffs? He's third. Justin Jefferson has never been to a conference championship game. CeeDee Lamb has never been to a conference championship game. DK Metcalf has never won a Super Bowl. Garrett Wilson is seventh at $33 million with the Jets. Terry McLaurin, $32 million, has been to an NFC championship game. Ahmad St. Brown has been to an NFC title game, but no Super Bowl win. How many teams on this list have won a Super Bowl with the 10 highest paid wideouts? AJ's right outside, by the way, at 32. One. Of all the quarterbacks or wide receivers in the top 10, one guy's won a Super Bowl. What is it based on? It's based on ability. It's based on ability. Quarterback is not a dependent position like wide receiver? Really? Huh. You really think if you get this, Bryant just said that the quarterback position is not a dependent position like the wideout, which means this. If Jalen Hurts doesn't have a top running attack or a top defense, he thinks that Jalen Hurts would have won the Super Bowl anyway. Without the best O-line in football, without the best receivers, without the best defense, Brian thinks Jalen Hurts walks on water, that he would have won it anyway, even with his 2,900 yards and 18 touchdowns, that he's not a dependent position, the quarterback position. Can you be any more wrong in how you look at your Jalen night? You're telling me if Jalen Hurts had the 28th or the 30th ranked offensive line, it wouldn't matter, Brian? Or if he didn't have that top ranked defense, the number one ranked defense at 24? That's common knowledge that it's not a dependent position. Bro, you don't have any knowledge. Everything I said is facts, that wide receivers are more dependent than quarterbacks. Really. So Jalen Hurts would have won the Super Bowl, in your opinion, without Saquon Barkley, in your opinion. Is that what you're saying? That he would have won the Super Bowl without the number one ranked defense and the number one rushing attack? Is that what you're saying, Brian? You're hold on, Brian. They had the number 2 rushing attack and they had a 70 sacks and number 3 ranked defense. Brian, that really is going to limit you now on being called upon. Further ado, dude, you don't really know. I mean, how stupid can you be? Hurts was bad in the 21 wild card, bad against the Giants and the 49ers in 22, bad against the Bucks in 23, bad against the Packers and Rams in 24, bad against the 49ers in 25. But sure, he's clutch. Okay. Let's go down the list here of the NFC East teams, and let's see if this doesn't hurt your brain so much. Like a guy like Brian. This guy right here, boy. Woo! Boy, is that guy. Yeah. And that's why they're trying to replace him. They're trying to replace the guy, and he's the common denominator. By the way, according to Jason, he ran AJ out. You know what, Nad? I give that guy a lot of credit for coming in here for 4 hours, telling we have 4 listeners or viewers or whatever, and he's one of them for 4 straight hours. I got to hand it to him, man. He gets unhinged, doesn't he? Comes in here, cries all day for 4 hours. I never seen anything like it. I'm going to have a Corona when I'm done. This guy's going to think about what he's going to do tomorrow. And how he's going to call in here tomorrow or join us tomorrow. I mean, Nad, it's kind of funny, though, man. You know what? Hey, Nad, is this what it feels like to be Taylor Swift and to be stalked? Bro, I don't really care. You're here. You're here, guy. I'm not anywhere where you are. Hey, Kim, this guy's here, and he's goofing on me. I listen, like, look at this. See? He got, in his eyes, that's a win for him, rent-free. Why? Because you come here and post all day? Okay. Let's see. Right, Sales. I laughed my ass off to people talking about viewer numbers as they're one of them. I know, dude. Oh. Sales, people like Brian, Reyes, Philadelphia are exact reason why I never pursued a career in Oh, man. Oh, my God. You're so good, man. Some of you guys are really great. I appreciate you again. Yes, sir, boy. It's going to be a great year this year. It is going to be a great year for people. All right. So I said we go over the NFC. And let's do you want to do Giants, Commanders, or do you want to do Cowboys first? Which is it? Where do you want to go? It's going to be hilarious. Oh, my God. Hey, by the way, I'm going to make a prediction, Sue. Some of you won't last the year. Because you know why? How some of you won't last the year? Because you're going to be made to look even dumber by the end of the season on how this thing's not going to work. Let's do the commies. I'm with you. Let's do the commandos. So, here's something to think about. So, the brand new offensive coordinator that's been hired, his name is David Blow, and he's bringing in a brand new offensive system because last year's didn't work and it failed because they won. Get this. You know what's crazy? Hey, James, are you in here? How many games last year did the Commanders win? Let me see. Standings. Commanders. So the Commanders won 5 games. 5 games. And they're changing their entire offense around. The Eagles won 11 games and 50-18 over the last 4 years. Why are they changing? I get the Commanders changing because the offense didn't work. Why are the Eagles changing? Anyone? Why would the Eagles change their offense? I get the Commanders. They won 5 ball games. I mean, I get it. You won 5 foot. You were 5-11. Or what was the record? 5-12. The Commanders were 5-12 last year. 5-12. Okay. I see why they're changing the offense. Okay. Why are the Eagles? Okay, so they're changing the new offense. Will Daniels be able to pick up the new offense? This will be a question like I have for Jalen Hurts. Jaden Daniels picking up the new offense in Washington. Is he going to be able to pick it up? What they're going to ask him to do, there's going to be more under center. Kind of the same stuff they're doing in Philadelphia. And also, it's a retooled defense. They've made a lot of schematic changes on both sides of the ball going into this year. And this is your first opponent. How is this all going to look? Okay? That's right. Very good, Tommy. It's a Ben Johnson type offense because it's trying to fit the – get this. This is perfect. Hey, Tommy, think about this. They think Jaden Daniels is more like a Caleb Williams, right? He's a dual threat guy. Look at the guy they hired. A dual threat guy. Joe Krause was talking about this. So in Washington, they hired a guy, right, Tommy, that fits Jaden Daniels' skill set. They're actually trying to hire a Ben Johnson type guy to fit the quarterback. How come they're not doing that in Philly? They're not hiring a guy that fits Jalen's style. Correct. In Washington, they are. I mean, even the Commanders are getting it right. Commanders OC David Blow is from the Detroit Lions and learned under Ben Johnson, so they will have a power running game with multiple wide receiver sets and be aggressive in their play calling. Okay? And Ben Johnson, they're going to be not – wait a second. They're not running the Jared Goff offense. They're going to be running the Ben Johnson offense that you see in Chicago. He's not a drop back guy. Hey, Paul, you don't think that you're looking at Jaden Daniels and you're going to take his running ability away from him. He's a dual threat guy. Okay? Eagles have been a better team and organization than the Commanders. Whoever thinks the commies are going to do it right are idiots. Well, they beat you last year. They were one. Bro, you made it sound like you blew out the NFC East. You didn't even have the better record in the East. So, I think that, but I do agree with some of you in here. I think the question is, how is Daniels going to adapt to this and the new defense? So I'm with you here. Okay? All right. So let's go to the New York Giants. We'll do the Cowboys last. So, the New York Giants. I like what Joe Krause said when he was talking about John Harbaugh. Okay? And John Harbaugh is a great coach. And John Harbaugh is in complete control of his football team. Joe Schoen works. Okay? Here, watch this. Lots of Ben Johnson schemes were with a pocket quarterback when Blow was with. But Jaden Daniels is not a pocket passer. Jaden Daniels is not Jared Goff. Jaden Daniels. Oh, man. Dude, you know he's not Jared Goff. 35, 68, 25 touchdowns and 9 picks his first year. Last year, obviously injured. Played 17 games and went 12-5. In his first year, he had 891. Get this, folks. And by the way, Paul, I'm not really ripping you, but he had 900 yards rushing. You think fucking Jared Goff's going to run the ball 900 yards in 6 years? He had 900 rushing yards his rookie year and had 6 touchdown runs and had 6 yards a carry. And you're going to take that away? Is more of a pocket quarterback than Caleb Williams. The guy had 900 yards rushing. Sills, are you aware the Eagles are the only NFC team to win back-to-back titles in the 2000s? None of the NFC East teams have done it. I think that's a great record, dude. He has better accuracy than Williams. That I agree with. He's a better player than Caleb Williams. I think he's a better football player. Let's see what he did here also. 69% completion percentage for a rookies. And let me tell you something about a rookie year. This is one of the greatest rookie seasons in NFL history. 35, 68 passing yards and 25 touchdowns and 9 picks. 69% completion percentage and ran for 891 yards. You're not getting anything better than that from a rookie, dude. Ajomo fired his agent. Is that right? Oh, because the Eagles don't want to move on a new deal. Hold on here. Did he really? Ajomo fired agent. He did. Philadelphia Eagle defensive lineman fired his agent and switched to athletes first, David Magala. And that happens to be Micah Parsons' agent. Wow. Hey, Bobby. Damn, dude. Ajomo's about to get paid. If he puts a year, let me see what here. Let's see if the NFLPA put that out there yet on him. Moro Ajomo. Let me see here. Moro Ajomo. 27. I got this really great indicator from the NFLPA. Ajomo to the market value. NFLPA. Moro Ajomo, according to the NFL Players Association, will have a market value in 27 of between $18 and $25 million. 18 to $25 million. So 36, 25, 28, and 25. Holy cow. That's quite a number you guys got going on there in Philly. You're going to have 4 dudes in your D line over $25 million. The way you're talking. What are you going to, and hey, oh my, hey, and you get one guy at 36 million. Oh, and you got a 5th-year guy making 14 million. And Nolan Smith. Jomo gets a 4-year, $85 million deal. Guarantees. Yeah, where? Teams hire OCs to fit the long-term plans of a quarterback skill set. Eagles aren't looking to fit an OC to Hurts. Basically, they're motivated to have a particular offensive style. And if it fits Hurts, it fits them. Get this, man. I mean, Moro Jomo's going to command $25 million. And the guy was a 7th-round draft choice. And you're going to go like this to him. Like you did Milton Williams and Josh Sweat. See ya. All right. Hey, what's the line, Reyes? You can't sign them all. Yeah. So let's do the Gigantes. All right. The continued development of Jackson Dart. Right? It is insane. Okay? 5 years from now, that's this offseason, Dak-ass. He's going to command that this offseason. What are you talking about? 5 years from now. That's this offseason. When does it Jomo? And by the way, Jalen Hurts up for a contract. Moro Jomo become a free agent. Let's see. He becomes a free agent, an unrestricted free agent in 2027. March 14th of 2027. Ain't 5 years, Junior. He's a free agent after this year. 5 years. Okay. Let me see Jackson Dart here for a second. Let's take a look at Jackson Dart here. I don't really particularly like the quarterback. I think he's reckless, and I think he's not very skilled. 2,200 passing yards, 15 touchdowns. What did he rush for? Had to be a big number. 487 and 9. I don't know if he's the guy yet. We'll see if John Harbaugh can make that happen and make him that guy. Okay? Too reckless. I'm with you. I think he's way too reckless. By the way, here's another guy that is a spectacular player. And dude, this kid here, Neighbors, is some ball player. Listen to this. And you tell me if you think that Devontae Smith is a better football player than Neighbors with the Giants. And here's where we'll go here. So Malik Neighbors, first year in the NFL, had 1,200 yards. Let's see who the quarterbacks were in 2024, throwing him 7 touchdowns for 1,200 yards in his first year with 109 receptions. Now, last year he was injured, obviously. Who was throwing him the ball for those 100 catches? Let's see. Daniel Jones for 10 games. Drew Lock, Tommy DeVito, and Tim Boyle threw him the ball. And Neighbors had, how many targets did he get last year? Or the year before, excuse me. He got 170 targets. Dude, that kid is a great football player. That kid can play, dude. Great player. That MetLife Stadium is, yep, absolutely. Absolutely, Brian. I completely agree. Neighbors is a head case, though. Won't last in New York 2 years. They said the same thing about George Pickens. John Harbaugh's impact. I think John Harbaugh is going to have a great impact on that football team. I do. Will they win this year? If I had, oh, by the way, Commanders, how many wins they have this year? I would say the Commanders will come in at roughly 7 wins. They're about a 7-win team. The Giants, I think they're another 7-8 win team. And the Cowboys, let's do them now. How many wins do you think the Dallas Cowboys have this year? What would you say? The Dallas Cowboys. And then I'll give you my prediction on the rankings heading into training camp. 11 wins. 9-8. Let's see. 11 wins. 7 wins. 10 wins. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. I would do this. Let's hold on. Let's see here. Go here with this. 8, unless defense gets way better. All right. So, will Dak, here's my problem. DFW, if you're still in here, here's going to be the issue with Dak for me. Okay? Dak. Here's where we're coming up now in Dak's career. Okay? So Prescott, in the last 4 years, he's missed 8 and he's missed 5. That's 13 ball games in the last 4 years. He's going like this. Hurt, good, hurt, good. Is it going to be hurt this year? He's got to get over the injuries now because he's coming down the lane here. How old is Dak? He's 32 this year. So now you got to look at injuries. Is injuries an issue? Okay. Cowboys get 6-0 in the division. We good. I think you're going to, I tell you what, I'll get here in a minute. So is he going to be able to overcome the injuries? And then Christian Parker. I think Christian Parker, again, is the same thing like Sean Mannion. How many years has Christian Parker been a coach? Because that's going to sway me a little bit too, because Sean Mannion hasn't been a... Here, Sean Mannion. I'll make a point to you about Sean Mannion. NFL coach. Sean Mannion. Okay. So Sean Mannion has been a football coach for a total of, let's see, 4, 5, 6. He's been a coach for 3 seasons. Let's see what Christian Parker, how long he's been a coach. Christian Parker. Has been a coach how long? He's been a coach 2 years in Philly. 21, 22, 3 years in Denver. and 1920, 2 years in Green Bay. So he's been a football coach, plus his college. He was at Notre Dame. He was at A&M. Those are analyst jobs, so those aren't really gigs. He's been a coach, though, for 7 years. Way more experience than Mannion. Mannion's been a coach for 3 years. Okay? Packers are going to have to polish a turd in Dallas. That defensive roster is slim pickings. What the Cowboys roster? The Cowboys roster that beat you last year should have swept you? Parker's teaching all these guys a new scheme with subpar talent. Okay, well, wait a minute here. He's teaching them a scheme with subpar talent. They have a better DT than you. Now, you have 2 of them. I don't think Grenard is a better edge. Now, wait a minute here. Let me take a look at Rashad Gary. And take a look at Jonathan Grenard's career. Rashad Gary. And see what Rashad Gary has done in his career. I don't think Jonathan Grenard is miles apart. So he's been a pro for 7 years. And he's got 46.5 sacks. And his best year was 9.5 in 21. Last 2 years, he's got 9. He's got 16 in the last 2 years. He got 25 sacks in the last 3 years. Let's see what Jonathan Grenard's got the last 3 years. Jonathan Grenard stats. Let's take a look here. Last 3 years, what's he done? He's got 27. So he's got 7 more sacks. Oh, excuse me, 2 more sacks than what Rashad Gary has the last 2 years. 3 years. Last year he had 3, which knocked him off. And had 38 combined tackles. Missed a bunch of games. So there was injuries there with him. And he's played 6 years with 38 sacks. Shit, man. Gary's got a pretty good career himself. I don't see where you think that Rashad Gary is not the same player that Jonathan Grenard is. Based on what? This guy's got the same career. He's 28 years old. Got 46.5 sacks. 5, 9.5, 6, 9, 7.5, 7.5. Here's Grenard. I mean, I don't know. They look like the same guy to me. How is he better? If Parker gets our defense to at least 15th and Dax stays healthy, by the way, has Gary ever made the Pro Bowl? Let's take a look at that. Has he been a Pro Bowl player? Rashad Gary here. Has he made a Pro Bowl? Let's see. Made the Pro Bowl. He's got a Pro Bowl to his name. Let's see what Jonathan Grenard has. I think Grenard's been to multiple. I think he's got 3. Eagles. He's got 1 Pro Bowl. Both of them got 1 Pro Bowl. They're the same dude to me, dude. What has he done? I mean, Gary's probably a better run defender than Grenard, who is a better pass rusher. That sounds right. Paul, I'll take that. Okay? Gary was a ghost in November and December. Your guy was hurt last year. Gary gets mostly hustle sacks. Decent player. By the way, I think they're both really good. I'm not talking shade on any of them. I think they're really good players, and they're going to impact a football team, especially when you've got Quinnen Williams next to him, and especially when you got Carter next to Grenard. I'm not shading anybody here. I think they're compatible players. I'm not dogging anybody here. That horrible Cowboys defense shut Hurts down just like the 49ers practice squad. Gary was the 12th pick. Was he? Was he the 12th pick in the draft? I don't remember what Jonathan Grenard was. Was he a third rounder? Dude, he's a really good football player. I am not taking a dump on him. Seals, didn't you say we should have gotten the corner? Yeah, I did. And by the way, I wasn't the only one. Nobody is trashing Dallas's line. It's everything behind them. Yeah, fair. That's fair, dude. That's fair. Because I'll tell you what, their secondary, he was a second rounder. Dude, Grenard's a good player. No shade on him. Okay? Let's see here. With a full season, this defense going to be ridiculously good. Quinnen Williams, the crew, along with Caleb Downs, Lawrence, Graham, Gary, I got top 10 defense. That'd be a tough one, dude. All right? That'd be a tough one. Hey, folks, what I want you to do is I want you to remember all this because he said this last year too. Force of nature, the green wave. I can't wait till the green wave signs the green turd. I'm not kidding. Jaylen Carter's not a turd. He's a good player. Talented, but yeah, bonehead. But I'd rather have to scale a guy back. Yes, I would too, Twiz. Downs never took an NFL snap. Wait till he gets on the field. Completely true. I agree 100% with you. Yes, Tulane. Toledo. If you're talking about Mitchell was a Toledo guy. If Caleb Downs, nothing else, he will make sure to not have too many blown plays in the secondary. Let me tell you guys, like I said, these guys got to get out and play. You just can't give hall passes to guys with, that have not put an NFL snap together. So, you too, my friend. Absolutely, man. No question. Jalen Hurts made the playoffs with the 8th offense and the 32nd defense. That in 2000, he made the playoffs that year, yes. And they got blown out in the playoffs. Correct. And they ended up getting, I think the Cowboy, or who did that to them? I think that was the Buccaneers. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you. Do me a favor. Hit the like button. We will see you tomorrow going 2 to 6, and we'll catch you on the flip side.
There's a reason Detective Johnson is the gossip king.
Oh, did you hear? Jackie and Tom
are getting a divorce? Mm-hmm. Sad.
Well, I heard that Ashley
had work done on her face? Yeah, oof.
Just like there's a reason Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. Injured? With over $25 billion recovered for our clients, there's a reason to go big.
Bathroom? Okay.
Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Oh.